Chapter 1: The Power of Thoughtful Communication. In a world where everyone seems to be shouting to be heard, the power of quiet confidence stands out like a beacon of clarity. Imagine walking into a room and commanding attention without uttering a word, or delivering a message so precise and impactful that it resonates long after you finish speaking. This is the essence of achieving more by saying less, a skill that can transform your personal and professional life. The journey to mastering thoughtful communication begins with understanding its fundamental power. Every word you choose, every pause you take, and every gesture you make contributes to your message. By honing these elements, you can elevate your communication from mere exchanges to influential interactions that drive results. Consider the immediate benefits of implementing the principles you'll discover in this book. Picture yourself in your next meeting or conversation, speaking with newfound clarity and purpose. You'll notice a reduction in misunderstandings as your words hit their mark with precision. Your audience, whether it's a single person or a crowded auditorium, will be more engaged, hanging on your every word because each one carries weight and intention. But the impact of thoughtful communication extends far beyond these immediate improvements. Over time, as you continue to practice and refine these skills, you'll experience sustained personal and professional growth. Relationships will deepen as you connect more authentically with others. Your influence will expand, naturally positioning you as a leader in your field. The skill of expressing concepts in a clear, uncomplicated manner and to navigate challenging conversations with grace will become second nature. At the heart of this transformation lies the concept of quiet confidence. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room or having all the answers. Instead, it's about cultivating a presence that exudes assurance and competence without the need for constant validation or verbose explanations. This quiet strength is magnetic, drawing people in and making them eager to hear what you have to say. The power of saying less is paradoxical, yet profound. By carefully curating your words and allowing strategic silences, you create space for your message to resonate more deeply. Think of the most impactful communicators you know. Chances are, they're not the ones who dominate every conversation, but rather those who speak with intention and listen with purpose. As we embark on this journey together, we'll explore a series of principles and techniques designed to enhance your communication effectiveness. From mastering the art of brevity to harnessing the power of storytelling, each chapter will build upon the last, creating a comprehensive toolkit for thoughtful communication. We'll begin by laying the groundwork, identifying your communication goals, and addressing common barriers that might be holding you back. You'll learn to align your objectives with your personal and professional values, ensuring that every interaction moves you closer to your aspirations. The journey ahead is both exhilarating and transformative. As you progress through the book, you'll discover why each principle is crucial and how they work together to create a cohesive approach to communication. The carefully chosen sequence of topics will guide you from foundational skills to more advanced techniques, allowing you to build your abilities systematically. By the time you reach the final page, you'll have a deep understanding of how to wield the power of thoughtful communication. You'll be equipped to navigate complex conversations with ease, to inspire and influence with fewer words, and to leave a lasting impact in every interaction. But this is just the beginning. The true magic happens when you take these principles beyond the pages and into your daily life. As you apply what you learn, you'll find yourself communicating with a quiet confidence that opens doors and unlocks possibilities you never thought possible. Are you ready to discover the transformative power of saying less? Turn the page and let's delve into the art of brevity, the cornerstone of impactful communication that will set the stage for your journey towards quiet confidence. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to Grow to the Top and activate notifications to receive more self-improvement tips that will supercharge your growth. Chapter 2: The Art of Brevity. In a world inundated with information, the ability to communicate concisely is a superpower. Imagine delivering a message so precise and impactful that it cuts through the noise, leaving your audience enlightened and eager for more. This is the essence of brevity, the art of saying more with less. Brevity is not merely about using fewer words. It's about maximizing the impact of every word you choose. It's a skill that separates influential communicators from those who struggle to make their point. In today's fast-paced society, where focus is fleeting and we're bombarded with endless streams of content, mastering brevity can be the difference between being heard and being ignored. The power of concise communication lies in its ability to enhance clarity and increase audience retention. When you strip away unnecessary verbiage, your core message shines through with crystal clarity. This clarity not only makes your ideas more accessible, but also more memorable. Think about the last time you heard a long-winded explanation versus a succinct summary. Which one stuck with you? Moreover, brevity demonstrates respect for your audience's time and intelligence. By getting to the point quickly, you show that you value their attention and trust their ability to grasp complex ideas without excessive elaboration. This approach builds rapport and credibility, essential components of effective communication. However, achieving brevity requires more than just cutting words. It demands a deep understanding of your subject matter and the ability to distill complex ideas into their essential components. It's about finding the perfect balance between providing enough information to make your point and avoiding information overload that can overwhelm or confuse your audience. To truly appreciate the power of brevity, consider some historical examples. Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address, a mere 272 words, is remembered as one of the most impactful speeches in American history. In just over 2 minutes, Lincoln captured the essence of democracy and the significance of the Civil War, leaving an unforgettable mark on the nation's consciousness. Similarly, Winston Churchill's Blood, Toil, Tears, and Sweat speech, delivered in his first address as Prime Minister, clocked in at just under 750 words. Despite its brevity, or perhaps because of it, the speech galvanized a nation facing its darkest hour. These examples demonstrate that it's not the quantity of words that matter, but their quality and impact. In the business world, Steve Jobs was renowned for his ability to convey complex technological concepts in simple, concise terms that resonated with both tech enthusiasts and the general public. His product presentations, often featuring short, punchy phrases like "1,000 songs in your pocket" to describe the iPod, became legendary for their clarity and impact. These historical figures understood a fundamental truth: the human mind craves simplicity. When faced with an abundance of information, our brains naturally seek out patterns and core ideas. By embracing brevity, you align your communication style with the way our minds naturally process information, making your message more likely to be understood and remembered. But how does one achieve this level of concise communication? It starts with clarity of thought. Before you speak or write, take the time to crystallize your main points. Ask yourself, what is the core message I want to convey? What are the essential details my audience needs to know? What can be omitted without losing the essence of the idea? Once you've identified your key points, focus on expressing them in the clearest, most direct way possible. This often means avoiding jargon, eliminating redundancies, and choosing precise words that carry maximum meaning. Remember, the goal is not to dumb down your message, but to make it accessible and impactful. Practicing brevity also involves developing an ear for unnecessary words and phrases. Common culprits include filler words like basically, actually, and literally, as well as redundant phrases like advanced planning or past history. By eliminating these verbal crutches, you can tighten your language and increase its impact. Another powerful technique for achieving brevity is the use of strong, active language. Instead of saying, "The decision was made by the committee," say, "The committee decided." Not only is the second version shorter, but it's also more direct and energetic. Active language engages your audience and conveys confidence in your message. Simplification is another key strategy in the art of brevity. This doesn't mean oversimplifying complex ideas, but rather finding ways to express them clearly and concisely. Albert Einstein once said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." Challenge yourself to explain your ideas as if you were talking to someone unfamiliar with the subject. This exercise can help you identify the essence of your message and express it more clearly. In written communication, brevity takes on additional importance. In an era of flooded inboxes and non-stop digital notifications, the ability to write concise, impactful emails and reports is invaluable. Start by crafting clear, informative subject lines that convey the essence of your message. In the body of your email, get to the point quickly, using short paragraphs and bullet points to break up information and make it easily scannable. When writing longer documents, such as reports or presentations, use an inverted pyramid structure, placing the most important information at the beginning. This approach ensures that even if your audience only reads the first few paragraphs, they'll grasp the key points of your message. Practicing brevity in verbal communication presents its own set of challenges and opportunities. In meetings and presentations, resist the urge to fill silence with unnecessary words. Instead, embrace strategic pauses to allow your key points to sink in. When answering questions, provide direct, concise responses rather than lengthy explanations that may obscure your main point. To hone your skills in concise communication, try the following exercise. Take a piece of writing, perhaps an email you've drafted or a section of a report, and challenge yourself to reduce its word count by 25% without losing any essential information. This practice will force you to evaluate each word's necessity and impact, helping you develop a more concise writing style. For verbal communication, try the elevator pitch exercise. Imagine you have just 30 seconds to explain a complex idea or proposal to someone important. Practice distilling your message down to its essence, focusing on the key points that will grab attention and convey your main idea quickly and effectively. As you work on developing your brevity skills, be mindful of potential pitfalls. One common mistake is oversimplifying to the point of losing important nuance or detail. While brevity is the goal, it should never come at the expense of clarity or completeness. Strive for the sweet spot where your message is concise yet comprehensive. Another challenge is maintaining your authentic voice while striving for brevity. It's important that your concise communication still sounds like you. Practice finding ways to inject your personality and style into your streamlined messages. Remember, brevity doesn't mean being robotic or impersonal. It means being clear and impactful. Feedback is crucial in developing your brevity skills. Seek out honest opinions from colleagues, friends, or mentors about your communication style. Ask them specifically about the clarity and conciseness of your messages. Are there areas where you tend to be overly verbose? Are there points that could be made more succinctly? Leverage this input to continuously refine your approach. As you embrace the art of brevity, you'll likely encounter resistance, both from others and from within yourself. Some people mistakenly equate length with depth or importance. You may find yourself in situations where others expect long-winded explanations or verbose reports. In these cases, let the power of your concise communication speak for itself. Often, the clarity and impact of a well-crafted, brief message will win over even the most skeptical audience. Internally, you might struggle with the fear that brevity means leaving out important information. Remember that the goal is not to omit crucial details, but to present them in the most efficient and effective manner possible. Trust in your ability to discern what's truly essential and have confidence that your audience will appreciate your respect for their time and attention. As you continue to practice and refine your brevity skills, you'll notice a transformation in your communication effectiveness. Your messages will carry more weight, your ideas will spread more easily, and your influence will grow. You'll find yourself better able to cut through the noise and make a lasting impact in both your professional and personal life. The journey to mastering brevity is ongoing. Even the most skilled communicators continuously work on refining their ability to say more with less. Embrace this as a lifelong skill, always seeking opportunities to hone your craft and increase your impact. As we conclude this exploration of brevity, consider how this fundamental skill sets the stage for all effective communication. By learning to distill your thoughts and express them concisely, you're laying the groundwork for more advanced communication techniques. You're developing the ability to capture and hold attention, to convey complex ideas with clarity, and to make every word count. But brevity is just the beginning. As powerful as concise communication can be, there's another tool in the quiet confidence arsenal that can amplify your impact even further. It's a technique that might seem counterintuitive at first, but when mastered, can make your words resonate more deeply than you ever thought possible. Are you ready to discover the surprising power of what you don't say? Before we go on, if you enjoyed this book so far, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you for your support. Chapter 3: Strategic Use of Silence. In the cacophony of modern communication, where words flood our senses from every direction, there exists a powerful tool often overlooked: silence. Imagine standing before an audience, delivering a crucial point, and then pausing. In that moment of quiet, your words hang in the air, reverberating in the minds of your listeners. This is the power of strategic silence, a technique that can elevate your communication from mere words to profound impact. Silence, when used deliberately, is far from empty space in a conversation. It's a dynamic force that can emphasize your message, create anticipation, and allow for deeper reflection. In a world where we're often racing to fill every moment with sound, embracing strategic silence sets you apart as a confident and thoughtful communicator. The impact of a well-placed pause cannot be overstated. It gives weight to your words, allowing them to sink in and resonate with your audience. Think of it as the punctuation in spoken language, the full stops, commas, and exclamation points that give rhythm and meaning to your speech. Just as a skilled musician understands the value of rests in a piece of music, a master communicator knows that the spaces between words can be just as important as the words themselves. But the power of silence extends beyond mere emphasis. It's a tool for reflection, both for you and your audience. In the quiet moments, listeners have the opportunity to process what's been said, to connect ideas, and to form their own thoughts. For you, as the speaker, these pauses provide a chance to gather your thoughts, to gauge your audience's reaction, and to adjust your message if needed. The psychological impact of silence in communication is profound. Studies have shown that strategic pauses can increase attention, improve comprehension, and enhance memory retention. When you pause after making a key point, you're not just giving your audience time to think, you're signaling the importance of what you've just said, encouraging them to give it special consideration. Additionally, silence can be a formidable tool for building tension and creating anticipation. In storytelling, public speaking, or even in one-on-one conversations, a well-timed pause can create a sense of suspense that draws your audience in, making them eager to hear what comes next. This technique is often used by skilled orators to keep their audience engaged and on the edge of their seats. However, mastering the use of silence requires more than just stopping talking. It's about understanding when to be quiet, for how long, and to what effect. It's a delicate balance. Too little silence, and your words may rush by without impact. Too much, and you risk losing your audience's attention or creating discomfort. To truly appreciate the power of strategic silence, it's important to understand its cultural context. In many Western cultures, silence in conversation can be perceived as awkward or uncomfortable. There's often a rush to fill any quiet moment with words, but in other cultures, such as in Japan, silence is viewed as a natural and important part of communication. The Japanese concept of the space between things, is deeply ingrained in their communication style, emphasizing the importance of pauses and unspoken understanding. By embracing strategic silence, you're not just improving your communication, you're demonstrating a level of cultural intelligence and global awareness that is increasingly valuable in our interconnected world. You're showing respect for different communication styles and an understanding that effective dialogue involves more than just an exchange of words. So, how does one begin to incorporate strategic silence into their communication repertoire? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to your own speaking patterns. Do you rush to fill every moment with words? Do you give your listeners time to process what you've said? Practice inserting deliberate pauses after key points in your conversations or presentations. One effective technique is the power pause. After making a significant statement, count to 3 in your head before continuing. This brief moment of silence allows your point to land and gives your audience time to absorb its impact. You'll likely find that this simple technique immediately increases the gravitas of your words. Another powerful use of silence is in questioning. After asking a question, resist the urge to immediately rephrase or clarify. Allow the silence to linger, giving the other person time to formulate their thoughts. This not only shows respect for their thinking process, but often leads to more thoughtful and comprehensive responses. In negotiations or difficult conversations, silence can be a formidable tool. When faced with a challenging question or statement, taking a moment of silence before responding can help you avoid reactive or emotional responses. It also puts a subtle pressure on the other party, often leading them to elaborate on their position or even make concessions. Public speaking presents numerous opportunities for strategic silence. Use pauses to transition between topics, allowing your audience to mentally shift gears. Pause before revealing key information to build anticipation. And don't be afraid of a longer silence after posing a thought-provoking question to your audience. This gives them time to reflect and engage more deeply with your material. However, as with any powerful tool, silence must be used judiciously. Overuse can lead to a disjointed speaking style or create unnecessary tension. The key is to find a natural rhythm that complements your personal speaking style and enhances your message rather than detracting from it. One common fear in embracing silence is the worry that it will make you appear unsure or unprepared. In reality, the opposite is often true. Confident use of silence demonstrates self-assurance and control. It shows that you're comfortable in your own skin and confident in the weight of your words. It's the verbal equivalent of making eye contact, a sign of strength and engagement. To build your confidence with silence, start small. Practice incorporating brief pauses in low-stakes conversations with friends or colleagues. Pay attention to their reactions. You'll likely notice increased engagement and more thoughtful responses. As you become more comfortable, gradually increase the duration of your pauses and use them in more significant interactions. Another effective exercise is to record yourself speaking, either in practice presentations or real conversations, with permission, of course. Listen back and note where you rush through important points or fail to give your words room to breathe. Then practice the same content again, deliberately incorporating strategic pauses. You'll likely be surprised at how much more impactful your words become. In written communication, silence takes on a different form but is no less powerful. In emails or reports, strategic use of white space, breaking up text with line breaks or shorter paragraphs, can make your message more digestible and impactful. In creative writing, line breaks and varied sentence structures can create rhythm and emphasis, guiding the reader's pace and attention. As you develop your skills with strategic silence, you'll also enhance your ability to listen actively. The comfort with silence that you cultivate will allow you to be fully present in conversations rather than constantly thinking about what to say next. This improved listening ability will in turn make your responses more thoughtful and relevant when you do speak. It's important to note that the effective use of silence doesn't mean becoming a person of few words. Rather, it's about creating a dynamic interplay between sound and silence, words and pauses, that enhances the overall impact of your communication. You're not reducing the substance of what you say, you're amplifying its effect. As you practice, you'll likely encounter situations where silence feels uncomfortable or even risky. In a job interview, for instance, you might worry that a pause will be interpreted as hesitation. In a heated argument, silence might feel like conceding ground. But in these moments, strategic silence can be most powerful. It demonstrates composure under pressure and gives you time to formulate thoughtful responses rather than reactive ones. One particularly powerful application of strategic silence is in leadership roles. Leaders who master the art of the pause are often perceived as more thoughtful and authoritative. When faced with a crisis or difficult decision, taking a moment of silence before responding can inspire confidence in your team, showing that you're giving the matter serious consideration rather than rushing to judgment. In team discussions or brainstorming sessions, strategic silence can be a tool for inclusion. By resisting the urge to immediately fill silence, you create space for quieter team members to contribute. This can lead to an expanded variety of ideas and perspectives being shared. As you become more adept at using silence strategically, you'll find that it enhances other aspects of your communication as well. Your word choice becomes more precise, as you're no longer filling space with unnecessary verbiage. Your body language naturally becomes more composed and confident, and your overall presence becomes more commanding as you learn to own the silence rather than being owned by it. However, it's crucial to remember that the power of silence lies not just in its use, but in its strategic application. Silence for the sake of silence is not the goal. The aim is to use silence as a deliberate tool to enhance your message, engage your audience, and increase your overall communication effectiveness. One way to fine-tune your use of strategic silence is to pay attention to great communicators in action. Watch speeches by renowned orators, observe skilled interviewers, or analyze the communication styles of effective leaders in your field. Notice how they use pauses to emphasize points, create anticipation, or allow for reflection. Then, practice incorporating similar techniques into your own communication style. As you continue to develop your skills with strategic silence, you may encounter challenges. In fast-paced environments, there might be pressure to speak quickly and constantly. In some cultures or contexts, extended silences might be viewed negatively. The key is to adapt your use of silence to the situation while still maintaining its strategic value. Even in rapid-fire conversations, micropauses can be effective in emphasizing key points. Remember, the goal of strategic silence is not to create discomfort or to be manipulative. It's about enhancing understanding, emphasizing importance, and creating space for deeper engagement. Used ethically and skillfully, silence can transform your communication from a one-way transmission of information to a dynamic, engaging exchange of ideas. As we conclude this exploration of strategic silence, consider how this powerful tool complements the art of brevity we discussed earlier. Together, these skills form a foundation for impactful communication that respects your audience's time and intelligence while maximizing the effect of your words. But mastering silence and brevity is just the beginning of your journey towards quiet confidence. There's another key factor that can elevate your communication to new heights, an aspect so fundamental that it forms the very building blocks of your message. Are you ready to delve into the art of choosing words with precision and power? Chapter 4. Choosing Words Wisely. In the vast tapestry of language, every word is a thread, capable of weaving intricate patterns of meaning and emotion. The art of choosing words wisely is akin to a master craftsman selecting the perfect materials for their creation. It's a skill that can elevate your communication from merely functional to truly impactful, allowing you to influence perceptions, shape opinions, and move hearts and minds with surgical precision. The power of word choice lies in its ability to shape reality. The words we use don't just describe our world, they create it. They frame our thoughts, influence our emotions, and color our perceptions. A single word can be the difference between inspiring action and inducing apathy, between building trust and sowing doubt, between clarifying and confusing. Consider the subtle yet significant difference between saying, "we face a challenge," and "we face an opportunity." Both phrases might describe the same situation, but they frame it in fundamentally different ways, evoking distinct emotional responses and mental attitudes. This is the essence of wise word choice, the ability to not just convey information, but to shape the very context in which that information is received and processed. The impact of carefully chosen words extends far beyond the moment of communication. Well-crafted messages have a staying power that can influence long after they're spoken or read. They lodge in the mind, resurfacing in moments of decision or reflection, guiding thoughts and actions in subtle yet powerful ways. To master the art of word choice, one must first develop a deep appreciation for the nuances of language. This goes beyond having a large vocabulary. It's about understanding the connotations, the emotional weight, and the cultural context of words. It's about recognizing that words are not just vessels for meaning, but carriers of history, emotion, and cultural significance. Take, for example, the words cheap and affordable. Both might describe a low-priced item, but cheap carries connotations of poor quality or lack of value, while affordable suggests good value for money. In a business context, describing your product as affordable rather than cheap can significantly influence how it's perceived by potential customers. Similarly, in leadership communication, the difference between saying "I think" and "I believe" can be substantial. "I think" suggests a level of uncertainty or mere opinion, while "I believe" conveys conviction and confidence. A leader who consistently uses "I believe" when expressing their vision or strategy is likely to inspire more confidence and buy-in from their team. The power of precise word choice is particularly evident in fields like law, diplomacy, and politics, where a single word can have far-reaching consequences. In legal documents, the difference between shall and may can determine the level of obligation. In diplomatic communications, the choice between regret and apologize can have significant geopolitical implications. But the importance of wise word choice isn't limited to these high-stakes arenas. In everyday communication, thoughtful selection of words can enhance clarity, build stronger relationships, and increase personal influence. Whether you're giving feedback to a colleague, explaining a complex concept to a client, or simply chatting with a friend, your choice of words can make the difference between being understood or misinterpreted, between motivating or discouraging, between connecting or alienating. So how does one develop this crucial skill of choosing words wisely? It starts with awareness. Pay attention to the words you use and the reactions they elicit. Notice how different word choices can change the tone and impact of your message. Practice the habit of mental editing. Before you speak or write, take a moment to consider if there's a more precise or effective way to express your thought. Expanding your vocabulary is, of course, an important part of this process. But it's not just about knowing more words, it's about understanding them deeply. Study the etymology of words, explore their various connotations, and pay attention to how they're used in different contexts. Resources like thesauruses can be valuable, not just for finding synonyms, but for understanding the subtle differences between similar words. One effective technique for improving word choice is the practice of word swapping. Take a piece of your own writing or a transcript of your speech and challenge yourself to replace key words with alternatives. How does this change the tone or impact of the message? Which version is more effective for your intended purpose? This practice can help you develop a more refined understanding of word choice and its effects. Another powerful tool is the use of metaphor and analogy. Well-chosen metaphors can make complex ideas more accessible and memorable. They can create vivid mental images that stick with your audience long after the conversation has ended. When crafting metaphors, aim for freshness and relevance. Overused metaphors can feel cliché and lose their impact, while metaphors that resonate with your audience's experiences can be particularly powerful. In professional settings, adapting your language to your audience is crucial. This doesn't mean dumbing down your message, but rather choosing words that will resonate most effectively with your specific listeners or readers. A technical presentation to fellow experts might use industry jargon freely, while a similar presentation to a general audience would require more accessible language. The digital age has brought new challenges and opportunities in the realm of word choice. In an era of tweets and instant messages, where brevity is often mandatory, selecting the right words becomes even more critical. Each word must pull its weight, conveying maximum meaning in minimal space. This constraint can actually be a powerful tool for honing your word choice skills, forcing you to distill your message to its essence. However, the speed and informality of digital communication can also lead to carelessness in word choice. It's important to resist the temptation to sacrifice precision for speed. Even in casual digital interactions, thoughtful word choice can enhance your communication effectiveness and personal brand. One area where word choice is particularly important is in giving and receiving feedback. The difference between saying, "You always make this mistake," and "I've noticed this issue occurring frequently," is substantial. The first phrasing is accusatory and absolute, likely to provoke defensiveness. The second is observational and specific, more likely to be received constructively. By choosing words that focus on behaviors rather than character, and on specific instances rather than sweeping generalizations, you can make your feedback more effective and your relationships more positive. In emotional or conflict situations, word choice becomes even more crucial. Words have the power to escalate or de-escalate tension. Phrases like "you never listen" or "you always overreact" are likely to inflame emotions and shut down productive dialogue. On the other hand, "I feel unheard when," or "I've noticed a pattern of strong reactions," open the door for discussion and problem solving. The power of word choice extends to how we talk to ourselves as well. Our internal dialogue shapes our attitudes, beliefs, and ultimately our actions. Changing self-talk from "I'm not good at this" to "I'm still learning this" can shift our mindset from fixed to growth-oriented. Similarly, reframing a problem as a challenge can transform our approach to difficulties, encouraging a more proactive and positive attitude. As you work on refining your word choice, it's important to stay authentic. The goal is not to sound like someone else or to use words that feel unnatural to you. Rather, it's about finding the most effective ways to express your authentic self and your true message. Your word choice should enhance, not mask, your unique voice and personality. One powerful exercise for improving word choice is to practice describing the same thing in multiple ways. Take an object, a person, or a situation and challenge yourself to describe it using different sets of words, first focusing on physical attributes, then on emotional impressions, then on its function or impact. This exercise can help you develop flexibility in your language use and a richer vocabulary for expressing nuanced ideas. It's also valuable to study the word choices of skilled communicators in your field or area of interest. Analyze speeches, articles, or presentations that you find particularly effective. What specific words or phrases stand out? How do they contribute to the overall impact of the message? By dissecting the language choices of others, you can uncover insights to apply to your own communication. In written communication, the process of choosing words wisely often involves multiple drafts and revisions. Don't be afraid to write a messy, unpolished draft focused on getting your ideas down, then go back and refine your word choices. Often, the perfect word or phrase will come to you during this revision process, as you have time to reflect on your message and its intended impact. Remember that context is key in word choice. A word that's perfectly appropriate in one setting might be inappropriate or ineffective in another. Cultural sensitivity is particularly important here. Words can carry different connotations in different cultures, and what's considered polite or professional can vary widely. If you're communicating across cultural boundaries, it's worth taking the time to research and understand these nuances. As you develop your skill in choosing words wisely, you'll likely find that it enhances other aspects of your communication as well. Your ability to listen will improve as you become more attuned to the nuances of language. Your empathy may increase as you become more aware of the impact your words have on others. And your overall clarity of thought may sharpen as you practice expressing ideas with precision. However, it's important to remember that even the most carefully chosen words can sometimes be misunderstood. This is where the other skills we've discussed, brevity and strategic use of silence, come into play. Sometimes, fewer words, complemented by thoughtful pauses, can be more effective than trying to find the perfect word for every nuance of your message. One common pitfall in the pursuit of wise word choice is the overuse of complex or obscure words. While a rich vocabulary is valuable, the goal is always clear communication, not showing off. The most effective communicators can express complex ideas in simple, accessible language when needed and know when more specialized vocabulary is appropriate. Another challenge is avoiding unconscious bias in our word choices. Our language is often shaped by societal norms and personal experiences, which can lead to unintended exclusionary or biased language. Developing awareness of these issues and actively working to use inclusive language is an important part of mastering word choice. As you continue to hone your skills in choosing words wisely, you'll find that it becomes an almost intuitive process. You'll develop a finer sense of which words will best serve your purpose in any given situation. This doesn't mean that every word will be perfectly chosen. Communication is an art, not an exact science, but you'll have the tools to craft messages with greater precision and impact. The journey of mastering word choice is ongoing. Language is constantly evolving, and new contexts for communication are always emerging. Staying curious about language, open to learning new words and phrases, and attentive to how language is used around you will help you continue to grow in this skill throughout your life. As we conclude this exploration of choosing words wisely, consider how this skill complements the art of brevity and the strategic use of silence we've already discussed. Together, these elements form a powerful triad of communication skills. You're learning to say more with less, to use silence for emphasis and reflection, and to choose each word with care and intention. But effective communication is not just about the words we use and how we use them. There's another crucial element that can take your communication skills to the next level, an element that allows you to truly connect with your audience on a deeper level. Are you ready to explore the transformative power of empathy and emotional intelligence in communication? Chapter 5: Empathy and Emotional Intelligence. In the intricate dance of human interaction, empathy and emotional intelligence are the rhythm and melody that bring harmony to our communications. While the skills we've explored so far, brevity, strategic silence, and wise word choice, form the structure of effective communication, empathy and emotional intelligence breathe life into these elements, creating connections that resonate on a profoundly human level. At its heart, empathy is the ability to step into someone else's shoes and grasp their emotional perspective. It's the bridge that allows us to cross the chasm of individual experience and truly connect with others. Emotional intelligence, on the other hand, is a broader concept that encompasses not only empathy, but also the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions and those of others. Together, these two qualities form the foundation of what we might call heart-centered communication. They allow us to move beyond mere information exchange to create meaningful, impactful interactions that build trust, foster understanding, and inspire action. The crucial role of empathy and emotional intelligence in communication cannot be overstated. In a world increasingly mediated by technology, where face-to-face interactions are often replaced by digital exchanges, the ability to connect on an emotional level becomes even more crucial. It's what separates perfunctory interactions from those that leave a lasting impact. Consider the difference between a customer service representative who simply follows a script and one who genuinely empathizes with a customer's frustration. Or think about a leader who delivers news of organizational changes with cold efficiency versus one who acknowledges and addresses the emotional impact on their team. In each case, the presence or absence of empathy and emotional intelligence can dramatically alter the outcome of the interaction. But how do we develop and apply these qualities in our communications? It starts with self-awareness. Before we can truly empathize with others, we need to have a clear understanding of our own emotional landscape. This involves recognizing our emotions as they arise, understanding what triggers them, and being aware of how they influence our thoughts and behaviors. One effective technique for developing self-awareness is the practice of emotional journaling. Take a few minutes each day to write down your emotional experiences. What emotions did you feel? What triggered them? How did they affect your interactions with others? Over time, this practice can help you become more attuned to your emotional patterns and their impact on your communication style. Once we have a better understanding of our own emotions, we can start to develop our ability to perceive and interpret the emotions of others. This involves paying close attention not just to words, but to tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. It means listening not just for content, but for the underlying emotions and needs that drive that content. A powerful exercise for developing this skill is the practice of emotion spotting. In your daily interactions, challenge yourself to identify the emotions behind what people are saying. Are they excited, anxious, frustrated? What clues are you picking up from their tone, their expressions, their body language? The more you practice this, the more natural and intuitive it will become. But recognizing emotions is only the first step. True empathy involves going beyond recognition to understanding and even sharing those emotions. This doesn't mean you need to feel exactly what the other person is feeling, but rather that you make a genuine effort to see the world from their perspective. One way to cultivate this deeper level of empathy is through the practice of perspective taking. When you're in a conversation or conflict, try to mentally step into the other person's shoes. What might their experiences be? What fears or hopes might be driving their behavior? What would the situation look like from their point of view? This exercise can help you develop a more detailed understanding of others' emotions and motivations. Empathy in communication isn't just about understanding others' emotions. It's about responding to them in a way that acknowledges and validates those feelings. This doesn't mean you always have to agree with the other person's perspective, but it does mean showing that you've heard and understood their emotional experience. For example, instead of dismissing someone's anger with a phrase like, "calm down," you might say, "I can see that you're really frustrated about this. Can you tell me more about what's upsetting you?" This response acknowledges the emotion, shows that you're listening, and invites further dialogue. Emotional intelligence comes into play not just in how we respond to others' emotions, but in how we manage our own emotions during interactions. This is particularly crucial in high-stakes or conflict situations, where emotions can run high and communication can easily break down. One technique for managing emotions in these situations is the pause, reflect, respond method. When you feel strong emotions arising during a conversation, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and reflect on what you're feeling and why. Then, choose your response thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. This brief moment of reflection can make the difference between a knee-jerk reaction that escalates conflict and a measured response that moves the conversation in a positive direction. Another key aspect of emotional intelligence in communication is the ability to create a safe emotional space for dialogue. This entails cultivating an environment where people can freely share their ideas and emotions, knowing they won't face criticism or negative consequences. Leaders and team members who can create this kind of emotional safety often find that it leads to more honest, productive, and innovative discussions. One way to create this safe space is to focus on personal experiences using I language rather than accusatory you phrases. For example, instead of saying, "You're ignoring me," you might say, "I feel unheard when I'm interrupted." This approach focuses on expressing your own experience rather than making accusations, which can help prevent defensiveness and keep the lines of communication open. Empathy and emotional intelligence are particularly crucial in cross-cultural communication. Different cultures have different norms for expressing and interpreting emotions, and what seems like a neutral statement in one culture might be perceived as rude or aggressive in another. Developing cultural empathy, the ability to understand and respect these differences, is an increasingly important skill in our globalized world. One way to develop cultural empathy is through exposure and education. Read books, watch films, or better yet, engage in direct interactions with people from different cultural backgrounds. Pay attention to how emotions are expressed and handled in these different contexts. The more you expose yourself to diverse perspectives, the more flexible and nuanced your empathy skills will become. It's important to note that while empathy and emotional intelligence are powerful tools, they must be used authentically and ethically. Using these skills manipulatively, for example, feigning empathy to gain an advantage, is not only unethical but often backfires, as people are generally quite good at detecting insincerity. True empathy comes from a genuine place of caring and desire to understand. As you develop your empathy and emotional intelligence skills, you may find that they enhance other aspects of your communication. For example, your ability to choose words wisely will be improved by your deeper understanding of emotional nuances. Your use of silence might become more powerful as you become more attuned to the emotional rhythms of a conversation. However, it's also important to maintain balance. While empathy is crucial, it shouldn't come at the expense of your own emotional well-being. It's possible to be too empathetic to the point where you become overwhelmed by others' emotions. Part of emotional intelligence is knowing how to set healthy boundaries and take care of your own emotional needs while still being responsive to others. One technique for maintaining this balance is the practice of compassionate detachment. This involves empathizing with others' emotions without becoming entangled in them. You can acknowledge and validate someone's feelings without taking responsibility for them or letting them dictate your own emotional state. In professional settings, empathy and emotional intelligence can be game changers. They can help you navigate office politics more effectively, build more meaningful relationships with coworkers and clients, and lead teams more successfully. In sales and marketing, empathy can help you understand and address customers' needs more effectively. In negotiation, it can help you find win-win solutions by understanding the underlying interests and emotions of all parties. For leaders, empathy and emotional intelligence are particularly crucial skills. A leader who can understand and address the emotional needs of their team can inspire greater loyalty, motivation, and productivity. They can navigate changes and challenges more smoothly by anticipating and addressing emotional reactions. And they can create a more positive and collaborative work environment by modeling emotionally intelligent behavior. One powerful tool for leaders is the practice of emotion coaching. This involves helping team members recognize and manage their own emotions effectively. Instead of dismissing or trying to change negative emotions, an emotion coach acknowledges these feelings and helps the individual work through them constructively. This not only helps resolve immediate issues, but also helps team members develop their own emotional intelligence over time. As you continue to develop your empathy and emotional intelligence, remember that these are lifelong skills. Our understanding of emotions, both our own and others, can always deepen and expand. Stay curious about your own emotional experiences and those of others. Regularly reflect on your interactions and look for opportunities to apply empathy more effectively. One way to continually refine these skills is through the practice of emotional auditing. At the end of each day or week, take some time to review your interactions. Where did you successfully apply empathy? Where might you have missed opportunities to connect emotionally? What themes do you notice in your emotional reactions? This regular practice of reflection can help you continuously improve your empathy and emotional intelligence skills. It's also valuable to seek feedback from others on your emotional intelligence. Ask trusted friends, colleagues, or mentors how they perceive your empathy skills. Do they feel understood and heard when interacting with you? Are there areas where you could improve in recognizing or responding to others' emotions? This external perspective can provide crucial information that you might miss through self-reflection alone. As you become more skilled in empathy and emotional intelligence, you may find that your communication style naturally evolves. You might become more patient, more curious about others' perspectives, more adept at diffusing tense situations. You might find yourself asking more questions and making fewer assumptions. Your relationships, both personal and professional, may deepen and become more rewarding. However, it's important to remember that being empathetic and emotionally intelligent doesn't mean always agreeing with others or avoiding difficult conversations. In fact, these skills can make you more effective at addressing conflicts and having challenging discussions. When people feel genuinely heard and understood, they're often more open to different perspectives and more willing to find compromises. One powerful technique for applying empathy in difficult conversations is the use of validation statements. These are phrases that acknowledge and accept the other person's emotions without necessarily agreeing with their position. For example, "I can see why you would feel that way," or "That must be really difficult for you." These statements can help de-escalate tension and create a more constructive atmosphere for problem solving. As we conclude this exploration of empathy and emotional intelligence, consider how these skills integrate with and enhance the other communication techniques we've discussed. The brevity we cultivated earlier becomes more powerful when infused with emotional understanding. The strategic silences we learn to use can become moments of deep emotional connection, and our carefully chosen words can carry even more impact when selected with empathetic awareness. But while empathy and emotional intelligence form a crucial foundation for effective communication, they are not the whole picture. There's another dimension of communication that can amplify your message and reinforce your words in powerful ways. Are you ready to explore the silent language that speaks volumes, the world of nonverbal communication? Chapter 6: Nonverbal Communication. In the intricate tapestry of human interaction, words are but a single thread. Alongside them runs a rich, complex language that speaks without sound, the language of nonverbal communication. This silent dialogue of gestures, expressions, and postures often conveys more meaning than our words ever could. Mastering this unspoken language is a crucial step in developing quiet confidence and achieving more by saying less. Nonverbal communication comprises a wide range of aspects: facial expressions, eye contact, body posture, gestures, touch, spatial behavior, and even our appearance and environment. These elements work in concert to reinforce, contradict, or sometimes entirely replace our verbal messages. In fact, studies suggest that in face-to-face interactions, nonverbal cues can account for up to 65 to 93% of the total impact of the message. The power of nonverbal communication lies in its authenticity and immediacy. While we can carefully choose our words, our body often reveals our true thoughts and feelings involuntarily. A slight twitch of the eye, a barely noticeable change in posture, or a momentary expression can betray our inner state, even as our words say something entirely different. This is why developing awareness and control of our nonverbal cues is so crucial for effective communication. Let's start with facial expressions, often considered the most important aspect of nonverbal communication. Our faces are incredibly expressive, capable of conveying countless emotions without uttering a single word. A genuine smile can build rapport and trust, while a furrowed brow might signal concern or disagreement. The key to mastering facial expressions is not to try to control them completely. That often leads to an unnatural, forced appearance, but rather to cultivate awareness of what your face is expressing and ensure it aligns with your intended message. One powerful exercise for developing this awareness is the mirror technique. Spend some time each day in front of a mirror, practicing different expressions. Try to convey various emotions: joy, surprise, concern, interest, using only your face. Pay attention to the subtle movements of your eyebrows, lips, and eyes. Then, try to identify these expressions in others during your daily interactions. This practice will not only make you more aware of your own expressions, but also more adept at reading those of others. Eye contact plays a vital role in nonverbal communication. In many cultures, maintaining appropriate eye contact is associated with confidence, honesty, and engagement. However, the key word here is appropriate. Too little eye contact may give the impression that you're uninterested or insecure, while too much can come across as aggressive or make others uncomfortable. A good rule of thumb is the 50-70 rule. Strive to maintain eye contact for 50% of the time while you're talking and 70% of the time while listening. But remember, This can vary depending on cultural norms and individual comfort levels. Practice finding a balance that doesn't feel forced or artificial for both you and your conversation partner. Body posture is a powerful communicator of attitude and emotional state. An open posture, shoulders back, chest open, arms uncrossed, generally conveys confidence and receptiveness. Conversely, a closed posture, arms crossed, shoulders hunched, can signal defensiveness or discomfort. Pay attention to your habitual postures in different situations. Are you inadvertently closing yourself off when you want to appear open and approachable? One effective technique for improving posture is the power pose. Before entering a high-stakes situation, take a moment to stand in a confident pose, feet apart, hands on hips, chin up. Hold this pose for 2 minutes. Research suggests that this can actually increase your feelings of confidence and power, which in turn influences how others perceive you. Gestures can add emphasis and clarity to our verbal messages, but they can also reveal our inner states. Confident, composed individuals tend to use purposeful, controlled gestures that complement their words. Excessive or fidgety gestures, on the other hand, can betray nervousness or lack of conviction. To refine your use of gestures, try the hands on the table exercise. During your next few conversations, consciously place your hands on the table or in your lap when you're not using them to gesture. This will make you more aware of when and how you're using gestures, allowing you to make them more intentional and effective. Touch, while a powerful form of nonverbal communication, is also one of the most culturally variable. In some cultures, a touch on the arm or a handshake is a normal part of communication, while in others, it may be seen as invasive. When using touch in communication, be acutely aware of cultural norms and individual comfort levels. When in doubt, err on the side of less physical contact until you're sure it's welcome. Spatial behavior, or proxemics, refers to how we use space in communication. The distance we maintain from others can convey intimacy, power dynamics, and cultural norms. In Western cultures, personal space is generally categorized into 4 zones: intimate, 0 to 18 inches, personal, 18 inches to 4 feet, social, 4 to 12 feet, and public, more than 12 feet. Being aware of these zones can help you communicate more effectively. For instance, standing too close to someone during a professional interaction might make them uncomfortable, while maintaining too much distance could make you seem aloof or uninterested. Practice being aware of the space between you and others, and notice how adjusting this distance affects the tone of your interactions. Even our appearance and environment communicate messages about us. The clothes we wear, our grooming habits, and the way we organize our personal spaces all send nonverbal signals about our personality, status, and attitudes. While it's important not to judge others solely on these factors, being aware of the messages your appearance and environment are sending can help you ensure they align with your intended communication. One often overlooked aspect of nonverbal communication is silence and timing. The pauses between words, the moment you choose to speak or remain quiet, can be as communicative as any gesture or expression. This ties back to our earlier discussion on the strategic use of silence. A well-timed pause can add emphasis to your words, give others time to process information, or simply create a space for reflection in the conversation. It's crucial to remember that nonverbal cues often work together to create an overall impression. A single gesture or expression doesn't exist in isolation, but as part of a larger nonverbal sentence. For instance, a smile combined with direct eye contact and an open posture generally conveys warmth and friendliness. The same smile paired with crossed arms and minimal eye contact might instead suggest sarcasm or insincerity. This is why congruence between verbal and nonverbal messages is so important. When our words align with our body language, our communication becomes more powerful and trustworthy. Incongruence, on the other hand, can lead to confusion or distrust. If you tell your team, "I'm excited about this new project," while your tone is flat and your posture is slumped, which message do you think they'll believe? Developing congruence requires self-awareness and practice. Start by paying attention to your nonverbal cues in different emotional states. How do you carry yourself when you're truly excited? How about when you're concerned or uncertain? Understanding your natural nonverbal patterns can help you ensure they're supporting rather than undermining your verbal messages. One powerful exercise for developing congruence is emotional embodiment. Choose an emotion or attitude you want to convey, confidence, for example. Then fully embody that state. How would a confident person stand? How would they move? What would their facial expression be? Practice moving and speaking from this embodied state. Over time, this can help you align your nonverbal cues more naturally with your intended message. It's equally important to develop your ability to read others' nonverbal cues. This skill, often called thin slicing, involves making accurate judgments based on brief observations of behavior. To practice this, try the mute button exercise. Watch a video of a conversation or interaction with the sound off. Based solely on the nonverbal cues, what can you deduce about the relationship between the people, their emotional states, and the content of their conversation? Then, watch it again with sound to see how accurate your observations were. However, it's crucial to approach the interpretation of nonverbal cues with caution and cultural sensitivity. Nonverbal behaviors can vary significantly across cultures. For instance, direct eye contact is generally seen as a sign of respect and attention in Western cultures, but in some cultures of the Asian continent, it may be perceived as confrontational or disrespectful. Similarly, the OK hand gesture is positive in many Western countries, but can be offensive in others. To develop cultural competence in nonverbal communication, make a point of learning about nonverbal norms in cultures different from your own. If you're interacting with people from diverse backgrounds, take the time to observe and ask respectfully about any nonverbal behaviors you're unsure about. This curiosity and respect for cultural differences can greatly enhance your communication effectiveness in diverse settings. As you become more aware of nonverbal communication, you may find yourself noticing subtleties you never picked up on before. You might start to sense the underlying emotions in a room, pick up on unspoken tensions, or understand the true meaning behind diplomatically worded statements. This heightened awareness can be a game changer, but it's crucial to use it ethically and respectfully. Remember, the goal of understanding nonverbal communication is not to read minds or manipulate others, but to enhance mutual understanding and connection. Use your knowledge to communicate more clearly and to better understand others, not to take advantage or make unfounded judgments. One area where mastery of nonverbal communication can be particularly powerful is in leadership and public speaking. A leader who can project confidence, warmth, and authority through their nonverbal cues can inspire trust and motivate action more effectively than words alone ever could. When giving a presentation or speech, your body language can engage your audience, emphasize key points, and convey your passion for the topic. To enhance your nonverbal skills in public speaking, try the camera test. Record yourself giving a presentation or speech, then watch it back with the sound off. What message is your body language conveying? Are you projecting the confidence and enthusiasm you intend to? Look for areas where you can align your nonverbal cues more closely with your verbal message. In negotiations and high-stakes conversations, nonverbal awareness can give you a significant advantage. By picking up on subtle cues, you might sense when the other party is uncomfortable with a proposal, even if they haven't said so explicitly. You can use your own nonverbal cues to project confidence and build rapport. Remember, though, that others may be equally aware of nonverbal cues, so strive for authenticity rather than trying to fake confidence or agreement. As you continue to develop your nonverbal communication skills, you may find that they enhance your emotional intelligence as well. The ability to read nonverbal cues is closely tied to empathy and social awareness. You'll likely become more attuned to others' emotional states and better able to respond appropriately in social situations. However, it's important not to become overly reliant on nonverbal cues at the expense of verbal communication. While nonverbal elements are powerful, they should complement rather than replace clear, direct verbal communication. The most effective communicators skillfully blend verbal and nonverbal elements to create clear, impactful messages. One way to practice this blending is through role-playing exercises. With a partner, act out various scenarios: a job interview, a difficult conversation with a colleague, a presentation to clients. Focus on aligning your nonverbal cues with your verbal message. After each scenario, give each other feedback on the effectiveness of both verbal and nonverbal elements. As we conclude this exploration of nonverbal communication, consider how this silent language intertwines with the other elements of effective communication we've discussed. The brevity we cultivated allows our nonverbal cues to shine through without being overshadowed by excessive words. The strategic silences we learn to use create space for powerful nonverbal messages. Our carefully chosen words are amplified by congruent body language, and our empathy and emotional intelligence are enhanced by our ability to read and respond to nonverbal cues. But while mastering nonverbal communication is a powerful tool, it's not the end of our journey towards quiet confidence. There's another crucial element that underpins all effective communication, an element that can make the difference between being heard and being truly influential. Are you ready to explore the foundational role of trust and credibility in communication? Chapter 7: Building Trust and Credibility. In the intricate tapestry of human communication, trust and credibility form the essential foundation upon which all other elements rest. No matter how eloquent your words, how strategic your silences, or how masterful your nonverbal cues, without trust and credibility, your message may fall on deaf ears or be met with skepticism. In the pursuit of quiet confidence and achieving more by saying less, establishing and maintaining trust becomes not just important, but paramount. Trust, in its essence, is the unwavering confidence in the reliability, honesty, or competence of someone or something. In communication, it's the bridge that allows your message to cross from your mind to another's, intact and respected. Credibility, closely related to trust, is the quality of being trusted and believed in. It's what makes your words carry weight, your opinions valued, and your influence felt. The power of trust and credibility in communication cannot be overstated. When you've established trust, you can say less and achieve more because your audience is primed to listen, believe, and act on your words. Your silences are respected rather than questioned. Your brevity is seen as wisdom rather than lack of knowledge. Your nonverbal cues are interpreted positively rather than with suspicion. But how does one build this essential foundation of trust and credibility? It starts with consistency and integrity. Your words and actions must align not just in the moment, but over time. This doesn't mean being perfect. In fact, admitting mistakes and taking responsibility for them can significantly boost your credibility. It means being reliably true to your word and your values. One powerful technique for building trust is the practice of under-promising and over-delivering. This doesn't mean setting low expectations, but rather being realistic about what you can deliver and then putting in the extra effort to exceed those expectations. When you consistently deliver more than you promise, you establish a track record for reliability and excellence that enhances your credibility in all your communications. Transparency is another crucial pillar in building trust. In an age where information is readily available and secrets are hard to keep, openness has become a valued trait. This doesn't mean sharing everything. Discretion and respect for privacy are still important. But it does mean being honest about what you know and don't know, admitting when you're uncertain, and being willing to share your reasoning and decision-making processes. A useful exercise in developing transparency is the why behind the what practice. Whenever you communicate a decision or a plan, make it a habit to explain not just what you're doing, but why you're doing it. This insight into your thought process can help others understand and trust your decisions, even if they don't always agree with them. Expertise and competence are also crucial components of credibility. People are more likely to trust and believe someone who demonstrates deep knowledge and skill in their area. However, it's important to note that true expertise involves not just knowing a lot, but also being aware of the limits of your knowledge. Being willing to say, "I don't know, but I'll find out," can actually enhance your credibility more than trying to bluff your way through. To build and maintain your expertise, commit to continuous learning in your field. Stay informed on the latest trends, engage in professional development opportunities, and be willing to learn from others, including those junior to you. Share your knowledge generously, but also be open about areas where you're still learning. Active listening is another essential element for building trust and credibility. When you truly listen to others, not just waiting for your turn to speak, but genuinely seeking to understand their perspective, you demonstrate respect and build connection. This ties back to our earlier discussions on empathy and emotional intelligence. People are more likely to trust someone who they feel truly hears and understands them. Practice the art of reflective listening. After someone speaks, paraphrase what you've heard back to them to ensure you've understood correctly. This not only helps prevent misunderstandings, but also shows the speaker that you're fully engaged with their message. Nonverbal cues play a crucial role in establishing trust and credibility as well. Open body language, consistent eye contact, and a genuine smile can all contribute to a perception of trustworthiness. Remember our discussions on nonverbal communication. Ensure that your body language is congruent with your words to reinforce your credibility. One often overlooked aspect of building trust is the willingness to be vulnerable. This doesn't mean oversharing personal information or showing weakness in inappropriate contexts. Rather, it means being willing to admit when you're wrong, to show genuine emotion when appropriate, and to connect on a human level. Brené Brown, a researcher known for her work on vulnerability, argues that it's not a weakness, but a measure of courage and authenticity. Try the vulnerability challenge. In your next team meeting or any other type of conversation, share a relevant personal story or admit to a professional challenge you're facing. Notice how this openness affects the dynamic of the interaction and the level of trust in the relationship. Building trust and credibility isn't just about your direct communications. It's also about your reputation and the way others speak about you when you're not present. This is where the concept of social proof comes into play. When others vouch for your reliability and competence, it significantly enhances your credibility. To cultivate positive social proof, focus on consistently delivering value in all your interactions. Go above and beyond in your work, be helpful to colleagues, and maintain a positive professional attitude even in challenging situations. Over time, this will build a reservoir of goodwill that enhances your overall credibility. It's also important to address the role of empathy in building trust. When people feel that you understand and care about their perspective, they're more likely to trust you. This doesn't mean always agreeing with everyone, but it does mean demonstrating that you've considered their viewpoint and respect their feelings, even when you disagree. Practice perspective taking in your interactions. Before responding to someone, particularly in a disagreement, take a moment to mentally put yourself in their shoes. What might be driving their position? What concerns or fears might they have? Acknowledging these factors in your response can go a long way toward building trust, even in difficult conversations. In the digital age, building trust and credibility has taken on new dimensions. With so much of our communication happening online, we need to be mindful of how we present ourselves and interact in digital spaces. Your online presence, be it on professional networking sites, social media, or in email communications, all contribute to your overall credibility. Develop a consistent, professional online persona that aligns with your in-person presentation. Be mindful of what you post and share as it becomes a part of your digital footprint. In email communications, pay attention to your tone, response time, and the accuracy of your information. Small details, like proper grammar and punctuation, can have a surprising impact on how your digital communications are perceived. Another crucial aspect of maintaining credibility is following through on commitments. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to make casual promises or agree to tasks that we then struggle to complete. But each unfulfilled commitment, no matter how small, chips away at our credibility. Implement a system for tracking and following up on all commitments you make. This could be as simple as a dedicated notebook or as sophisticated as a project management app. The key is to have a reliable method for ensuring you don't let things slip through the cracks. It's also important to recognize that building trust and credibility is not a one-time achievement, but an ongoing process. Trust can be lost much more quickly than it's gained, and credibility can be damaged by a single misstep. This means we must be vigilant in maintaining the trust we've built. One way to maintain trust over time is through regular trust check-ins. In your important professional and personal relationships, make it a practice to occasionally ask for feedback on your trustworthiness and reliability. This could be as simple as asking, "Is there anything I could be doing to be more reliable or transparent in our interactions?" This not only helps you uncover areas that need work, but also prove your commitment to maintaining trust. In leadership roles, trust and credibility take on even greater importance. A leader who is trusted can inspire and motivate their team far more effectively than one who is viewed with suspicion or doubt. Trusted leaders can make difficult decisions and navigate challenges more smoothly because their team believes in their judgment and intentions. For leaders, one powerful trust-building technique is the practice of trust transparency. This involves being open about the reasoning behind decisions, admitting when you don't have all the answers, and being willing to engage in open dialogue about concerns or disagreements. It also means following through on promises and being consistent in your treatment of team members. It's crucial to remember that trust and credibility are not about creating a perfect, infallible image. In fact, trying to appear perfect can often backfire, making you seem inauthentic or unapproachable. True credibility comes from being genuinely competent, consistently reliable, and authentically human, flaws and all. This ties into the concept of authentic leadership, which emphasizes being true to oneself and one's values. People tend to place greater trust in authentic leaders because their actions consistently align with their stated beliefs and values. To shape your unique, authentic leadership style, take time to reflect on your core values and how they inform your decisions and actions. Look for opportunities to articulate these values to your team and to demonstrate them in your daily interactions. In negotiations and conflict resolution, trust and credibility play a pivotal role. When parties trust each other, they're more likely to engage in open, honest dialogue and to work towards mutually beneficial solutions. Even in adversarial situations, maintaining your credibility can give you a significant advantage. One technique for building trust in negotiations is the small concessions approach. By making small, good-faith concessions early in the negotiation process, you demonstrate your willingness to work towards a fair solution. This can encourage reciprocity from the other party and create a more collaborative atmosphere. It's also important to consider the role of cultural differences in building trust and credibility. What's considered trustworthy behavior in one culture may be viewed differently in another. For example, in certain societies, maintaining direct eye contact is seen as a sign of honesty and engagement, while in others, it may be perceived as aggressive or disrespectful. To navigate these differences, practice cultural humility, the willingness to learn about and respect cultural differences without making assumptions. When interacting with people from different cultural backgrounds, be open about your own cultural perspective and ask respectfully about their expectations and norms around trust building. As we navigate an increasingly complex and often polarized world, the ability to build trust across differences becomes ever more crucial. This involves not just respecting differences, but actively seeking to understand diverse perspectives and finding common ground. One powerful technique for building trust across differences is the practice of radical candor, a concept developed by Kim Scott. This involves caring personally while challenging directly. In other words, building a foundation of genuine care and respect that allows for honest, even difficult conversations. Remember, building trust and credibility is not about manipulating others or creating a false image. It's about consistently demonstrating through your words and actions that you are reliable, competent, and genuinely concerned about others' well-being. It's about aligning your internal values with your external behaviors in a way that creates congruence and authenticity. As you continue to develop your skills in building trust and credibility, you'll likely find that it enhances all other aspects of your communication. Your carefully chosen words will carry more weight. Your strategic silences will be respected rather than filled with doubt. Your nonverbal cues will be interpreted more positively, and your empathy and emotional intelligence will create even stronger connections. But while trust and credibility form a crucial foundation for effective communication, they are not the end of our journey towards quiet confidence. There's another powerful tool that can elevate your communication to new heights, a skill that allows you to not just convey information, but to truly influence and persuade. Are you ready to explore the transformative power of active listening in communication? Chapter 8: Listening as a Tool for Influence. In the symphony of human communication, we often focus on the art of speaking, crafting the perfect phrase, delivering a compelling argument, or inspiring with soaring rhetoric. Yet, there's a powerful instrument in this orchestra that's frequently overlooked: listening. Far from being a passive act, listening, when done skillfully and intentionally, can be one of the most potent tools for influence in your communication arsenal. The power of listening as a tool for influence lies in its ability to create deep connections, foster understanding, and build the kind of trust that makes people receptive to your ideas. When you truly listen to someone, you're not just hearing their words, you're giving them the profound gift of feeling understood. This creates a foundation of goodwill and openness that can dramatically enhance your ability to influence and persuade. But what exactly is this kind of influential listening? It goes far beyond simply staying quiet while another person speaks. It's an active, engaged process that involves not just your ears, but your mind, your emotions, and even your body. This is what we call active listening, and mastering it can transform your interactions and dramatically increase your influence. At its core, active listening involves fully paying close attention on what is being said, rather than simply hearing the message of the speaker. It involves listening with all senses, putting all your attention on the speaker, and trying your best to understand the complete message being delivered. This means not just focusing on the words, but also on the tone of voice, the emotional content, and the nonverbal cues that accompany the spoken message. One of the first steps in developing your active listening skills is to eliminate distractions. In our hyper-connected world, this can be challenging, but it's essential. Put away your phone, close your laptop, turn away from your computer screen. Give the speaker your full, undivided attention. This simple act alone can have a powerful effect, making the speaker feel valued and heard. Next, focus on your body language. Maintain appropriate eye contact, lean slightly forward, and keep an open posture. These nonverbal cues signal to the speaker that you're giving them your undivided attention. Remember our discussion on nonverbal communication. Your body language while listening is just as important as when you're speaking. As you listen, practice reflecting or paraphrasing what you've heard back to the speaker. This serves two important purposes. First, it ensures that you've accurately understood the message. Second, it demonstrates to the speaker that you're truly listening and trying to see things from their point of view. You might say something like, "If I'm understanding correctly, you're saying that," or "It sounds like you feel." This technique, known as reflective listening, is a powerful tool for building rapport and demonstrating empathy. Another crucial element of active listening is asking thoughtful, open-ended questions. These questions should aim to deepen your understanding of the speaker's perspective, encourage them to elaborate on their thoughts, and show that you're genuinely interested in what they have to say. Avoid closed questions that can be answered with one word, like a simple yes or no. Instead, ask how and why questions that invite more detailed responses. For example, instead of asking, "Did you like the proposal?" you might ask, "What aspects of the proposal resonated with you, and where do you see room for improvement?" This type of question not only garners more information, but also demonstrates your sincere interest in the speaker's thoughts and opinions. One powerful technique in active listening is the use of silence. We discussed the strategic use of silence earlier, and it's particularly potent in the context of listening. When the speaker pauses, resist the urge to immediately jump in with your own thoughts. Allow for moments of silence. These pauses give the speaker time to gather their thoughts and often lead to deeper, more meaningful sharing. Practice the 3-second rule. After the speaker seems to have finished, count to 3 in your head before responding. You'll often find that the speaker will continue, sharing additional thoughts or insights that they might not have expressed if you had immediately jumped in. It's also crucial to listen without judgment. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything being said, but it does mean suspending your own opinions and reactions while you focus on understanding the speaker's perspective. Avoid interrupting to argue or correct. Instead, focus on truly comprehending their point of view, even if it differs from your own. This non-judgmental listening ties closely with empathy, which we discussed earlier. Try to put yourself in the speaker's shoes. What emotions might they be feeling? What experiences or beliefs might be informing their perspective? This empathetic approach not only helps you understand the speaker better, but also makes them feel more understood and valued. Another powerful listening technique is appreciative listening. This involves actively looking for things to appreciate or agree with in what the speaker is saying. Even if you disagree with their overall point, try to find elements that you can genuinely appreciate or support. Expressing this appreciation can create a more positive, collaborative atmosphere and make the speaker more open to your perspective when it's your turn to speak. As you practice these active listening techniques, you'll likely find that your influence naturally increases. People are more likely to be influenced by those who they feel truly understand and value them. By demonstrating through your listening that you genuinely care about and understand the speaker's perspective, you create a foundation of respect and goodwill that makes your own ideas and suggestions more likely to be well received. However, it's important to remember that the goal of active listening isn't manipulation or to create a false sense of agreement. It's about creating genuine understanding and connection. Your aim should be to truly comprehend the speaker's perspective, not just to appear as if you're listening so you can more effectively push your own agenda. One common pitfall in developing listening skills is the tendency to listen with the intent to reply rather than to understand. Many of us, while someone else is speaking, are busy formulating our response in our heads. This means we're not fully present with what's being said, and we may miss crucial information or emotional cues. Practice listening with the sole intent of understanding, setting aside your need to respond until you fully grasp the speaker's message. Another challenge in active listening is managing our own emotional reactions. Sometimes what we hear may trigger strong emotions, disagreement, anger, or defensiveness. It's crucial to develop the ability to recognize these emotional reactions without letting them derail our listening. Take a deep breath, acknowledge your emotional response internally, and then refocus on understanding the speaker. The HEAR technique can be a useful framework for practicing active listening. Halt. Stop whatever else you're doing and give the speaker your full attention. Engage. Fully engage with the speaker using appropriate eye contact and body language. Anticipate. Look forward to what the person has to say. Be curious and open. Reflect back what you've heard to ensure understanding. This technique encapsulates many of the key elements of active listening and can be a helpful reminder in your daily interactions. It's also important to consider cultural differences in listening styles. In some cultures, direct eye contact while listening is seen as respectful, while in others, it may be perceived as confrontational. Similarly, the use of verbal and nonverbal feedback while listening, like nodding or saying can vary across cultures. Be aware of these differences and adjust your listening style accordingly when interacting with people from diverse backgrounds. As you develop your listening skills, you may find that it changes the dynamics of your conversations in surprising ways. You may notice that you speak less, but that your words carry more weight when you do speak. You may find that others are more likely to seek out your opinion or advice. And you may discover that you're able to resolve conflicts and find mutually beneficial solutions more easily. One powerful exercise for developing your listening skills is the listening diary. At the end of each day, reflect on your interactions and rate your listening on a scale of 1-10. What did you do well? Where could you have listened more effectively? What impact did your listening, or lack thereof, have on the interaction? Over time, this practice can help you become more aware of your listening habits and track your improvement. Another useful exercise is listening partners. Find a colleague or friend who's also interested in improving their listening skills. Take turns practicing active listening with each other, providing feedback on what was good and what could be improved. This peer feedback can be invaluable in refining your listening skills. Remember, becoming a skilled listener doesn't mean you never speak or share your own thoughts. Instead, it means creating a balance where you're fully present and engaged when others are speaking, and thoughtful and intentional when it's your turn to speak. This balance is at the heart of effective, influential communication. As you continue to hone your listening skills, you may find that it enhances other aspects of your communication as well. Your ability to choose words wisely will improve as you become more attuned to how others use language. Your empathy and emotional intelligence will deepen as you practice understanding others' perspectives. And your overall influence will grow as people come to see you as someone who truly understands and values their viewpoint. In leadership roles, strong listening skills are particularly crucial. Leaders who listen well are better able to understand the issues and desires of their team, identify potential issues before they become problems, and create an atmosphere of open communication. They're also more likely to benefit from the wide range of opinions and suggestions of their team members. One technique for leaders to demonstrate and encourage good listening is the leader as facilitator approach. In meetings or discussions, focus on asking questions and drawing out others' thoughts rather than dominating the conversation with your own ideas. This not only helps you gather more information and perspectives, but also models good listening behavior for your team. In negotiations or conflict resolution situations, skilled listening can be a game changer. By truly understanding the other party's needs, concerns, and motivations, you're better positioned to find mutually beneficial solutions. The trust and rapport built through attentive listening can also help navigate difficult conversations more smoothly. It's worth noting that in the digital age, listening takes on new dimensions. In written communications like emails or instant messages, listening involves carefully reading and considering the sender's words, tone, and intent before crafting a response. In video calls, it means being fully present and engaged, despite the potential distractions of your environment. As you become a more skilled listener, you may find that it changes not just how others perceive you, but how you perceive yourself. The practice of active listening often leads to greater self-awareness and emotional regulation. You may become more patient, more open-minded, and better able to handle disagreements or conflicts. However, it's important to maintain balance. Being a good listener doesn't mean always deferring to others or neglecting your own needs and opinions. It's about creating space for understanding before expressing your own thoughts. The goal is to enhance, not diminish, your ability to communicate your own ideas effectively. As we conclude this exploration of listening as a tool for influence, consider how this skill integrates with and enhances the other communication techniques we've discussed. The brevity we cultivated earlier becomes more powerful when complemented by attentive listening. The trust and credibility we built become deeper and more authentic when founded on genuine understanding. And our ability to choose words wisely is greatly enhanced by our improved comprehension of others' perspectives. But while mastering the art of listening is a powerful tool for influence, it's not the final piece of the puzzle in achieving quiet confidence and communicating effectively. There's another skill that can tie all these elements together, allowing you to not just communicate ideas, but to inspire, persuade, and create lasting impact. Are you ready to explore the transformative power of storytelling in communication? Chapter 9: Crafting Compelling Stories. In the complex world of human communication, storytelling stands out as one of the most ancient and powerful threads. From ancient rock art to the latest viral videos, stories have been the vehicle through which we share knowledge, convey emotions, and shape our understanding of the world. In the context of quiet confidence and achieving more by saying less, the art of crafting compelling stories becomes an invaluable tool for making complex ideas more relatable, memorable, and persuasive. The power of storytelling lies in its ability to bypass our logical defenses and speak directly to our emotions and imagination. When we hear a story, our brains react as if we're experiencing the events ourselves. This neurological response creates a deep connection between the storyteller and the audience, making stories an incredibly effective medium for conveying ideas and influencing opinions. But what makes a story compelling? At its core, a compelling story has several key elements: a relatable protagonist, a challenge or conflict, a journey of transformation, and a resolution that provides insight or meaning. These elements create a narrative arc that engages our attention and satisfies our innate desire for pattern and meaning. The first step in crafting compelling stories is to understand your audience. Who are they? What are their hopes, fears, and values? What kind of stories will resonate with their experiences and aspirations? This understanding will guide your choice of characters, settings, and themes, ensuring that your story connects on a personal level with your listeners. Next, consider the purpose of your story. Are you trying to inspire, educate, persuade, or entertain? Your purpose will shape the structure and tone of your story. An inspirational story might focus on overcoming adversity, while an educational story might walk through a process of discovery or learning. One powerful technique in storytelling is the use of vivid sensory details. Instead of simply stating facts, paint a picture with your words. Engage your audience's senses. What did the scene look, sound, smell, or feel like? These details make your story more immersive and memorable. For example, instead of saying, "It was a cold day," you might say, "The bitter wind cut through my jacket, sending shivers down my spine as my breath formed misty clouds in the frosty air." Another crucial element of compelling storytelling is emotion. Emotions are the glue that makes stories stick in our minds. Think about the emotional journey you want to take your audience on. Do you want them to feel hope, excitement, empathy, or a sense of urgency? Weave these emotions into your narrative through your characters' experiences and reactions. The structure of your story is also important. While there are many potential structures, one classic and effective approach is the hero's journey, popularized by Joseph Campbell. This structure involves a protagonist who is called to adventure, faces challenges, undergoes a transformation, and returns with new knowledge or abilities. This framework can be adapted to many types of stories, from personal anecdotes to business case studies. For example, in a business context, you might tell the story of a company, the hero, facing a significant challenge, the call to adventure. The company tries various solutions, tests, and challenges, eventually discovering an innovative approach, the transformation. Finally, the company implements this solution and achieves success, learning valuable lessons along the way, the return. One powerful storytelling technique is the use of contrast. By highlighting the difference between before and after states, or between expectation and reality, you create tension and interest. This contrast can be particularly effective in persuasive storytelling, where you're trying to advocate for change or a new approach. Another effective technique is the use of metaphor and analogy. These literary devices allow you to explain complex or abstract ideas by relating them to something more familiar and concrete. For instance, you might describe a company's digital transformation as evolving from a caterpillar to a butterfly, helping your audience visualize and understand the profound nature of the change. Remember, In the spirit of achieving more by saying less, your stories don't need to be long or complex to be effective. In fact, some of the most powerful stories are quite simple. Consider the famous six-word story attributed to Ernest Hemingway. For sale, baby shoes, never worn. In just 6 words, this story suggests a powerful narrative of loss and grief. Practice crafting your own short, impactful stories. Challenge yourself to convey a complete narrative arc in just a few sentences. This exercise will help you distill your stories to their essential elements, making them more potent and memorable. When delivering your story, pay attention to your pacing and tone. Use pauses strategically to build tension or allow important points to sink in. Vary your vocal tone to convey different emotions or to distinguish between characters in dialogue. Remember, storytelling is as much about performance as it is about content. One common pitfall in storytelling is the temptation to include too much detail. While details can bring a story to life, too many can bog it down and lose your audience's attention. Focus on the details that are most relevant to your core message or that create the strongest emotional impact. Everything else can be left to the audience's imagination. Another challenge in storytelling is maintaining authenticity. In the quest to craft a compelling narrative, it can be tempting to make things sound more impressive than they are. However, audiences are often adept at detecting inauthenticity, which can undermine your credibility. Strive for honesty in your storytelling, even if it means acknowledging uncertainty or imperfection. Vulnerability can often make your story more relatable and powerful. As you develop your storytelling skills, consider creating a story bank, a collection of personal and professional anecdotes that you can draw upon in various situations. These might include stories of challenges you've overcome, lessons you've learned, or moments of insight. Having this resource will allow you to quickly recall relevant stories in conversations, presentations, or writing. In the professional world, storytelling can be a powerful tool for leadership and influence. Leaders who can articulate their vision through compelling stories are often more effective at inspiring and motivating their teams. When facing organizational challenges or changes, stories can help employees understand the context and see themselves as part of a larger narrative. For example, instead of simply announcing a new initiative, a leader might tell the story of how the idea was born, the challenges it aims to address, and the positive future it could create. This narrative approach can generate more buy-in and enthusiasm than a simple presentation of facts and figures. Storytelling is also a valuable tool in problem-solving and innovation. By framing a problem as a story, you can often gain new insights and perspectives. For instance, you might tell the story from the point of view of a customer experiencing the problem, or imagine a future where the problem has been solved in an unexpected way. This narrative approach can spark creativity and lead to novel solutions. In marketing and branding, storytelling is essential for creating emotional connections with customers. The most successful brands often have a compelling story at their core. Think of Apple's narrative of innovation and challenging the status quo, or Patagonia's story of environmental responsibility. These narratives shape how customers perceive the brand and can create strong loyalty. When crafting stories for marketing purposes, focus on the customer's journey and how your product or service fits into their narrative. Instead of simply listing features and benefits, show how your offering can help the customer become the hero of their own story. In the digital age, storytelling has taken on new forms and challenges. Social media platforms, with their emphasis on brief, attention-grabbing content, require us to tell stories in new and concise ways. The rise of visual storytelling through photos and videos has opened up new possibilities for engaging audiences. To adapt your storytelling for digital platforms, consider how you can break your narrative into smaller, shareable pieces. Each piece should be compelling on its own, while also fitting into the larger story. Use graphic elements to complement and reinforce your written or spoken narrative, and always consider the specific norms and expectations of each platform you're using. As you continue to hone your storytelling skills, remember that great storytellers are also great listeners. Pay attention to the stories others tell. What makes them compelling or forgettable? How do different people structure and deliver their stories? You can learn as much from a poorly told story as from a masterfully crafted one. One powerful exercise for improving your storytelling is to practice retelling familiar stories in different ways. Select a well-known fairy tale or myth and retell it from a different character's perspective or in a modern setting. This will help you understand the flexibility of narrative structures and how changing perspective can dramatically alter a story's impact. Another useful technique is the story spine method, developed by Ken Adams. This simple structure can help you craft coherent narratives quickly. 1. Once upon a time. 2. Every day. But one day. Because of that. 5. Because of that. Until finally. And ever since then. This spine provides a clear narrative arc that you can flesh out with details relevant to your specific story. As you become more adept at storytelling, you may find that it enhances other aspects of your communication. Your ability to use silence effectively becomes more powerful when you can build anticipation for the next part of your story. Your carefully chosen words carry more weight when they're part of a compelling narrative. And your empathy and emotional intelligence grow as you become more skilled at understanding and conveying different perspectives through stories. However, it's important to use storytelling ethically. Stories have the power to inspire and unite, but they can also be used to mislead or manipulate. Always strive for honesty and integrity in your storytelling, using this powerful tool to enlighten and uplift rather than to deceive or exploit. Remember, the goal of storytelling in the context of quiet confidence is not to dominate conversations or monopolize attention. Instead, it's about using stories strategically to convey complex ideas more effectively, to create emotional connections, and to make your communication more memorable and impactful. As we conclude this exploration of storytelling, consider how this skill integrates with and enhances the other communication techniques we've discussed. The brevity we cultivated helps us craft concise, powerful stories. The listening skills we developed allow us to understand our audience better and tailor our stories to their needs. The trust and credibility we built provide a foundation of authenticity for our narratives. But while mastering the art of storytelling is a powerful addition to your communication toolkit, it's not the end of our journey towards quiet confidence and effective communication. There's another crucial step: learning how to apply these skills in real-world professional settings. Are you ready to explore how to put all these elements together in practical, everyday situations? Chapter 10: Practical Applications in Professional Settings. As we've journeyed through the various elements of effective communication, from brevity and strategic silence to active listening and storytelling, we've built a powerful toolkit for achieving more by saying less. But like any set of tools, their true value is revealed in their application. In this chapter, we'll explore how to bring these skills together in practical, professional settings, allowing you to communicate with quiet confidence in the workplace. The modern professional landscape is diverse and dynamic, presenting a multitude of communication challenges. From high-stakes presentations and negotiations to daily team interactions and client relationships, each situation calls for a nuanced application of our communication skills. The key lies in understanding the context, adapting our approach, and consistently applying the principles we've learned. Let's start with one of the most common yet crucial professional communication scenarios: the presentation. Whether you're pitching an idea to your team, presenting quarterly results to the board, or speaking at a conference, the ability to deliver a compelling presentation is invaluable. In preparing your presentation, begin by applying the principle of brevity. Resist the temptation to include too much data. Instead, focus on the core message you want to convey. What is the one thing you want your audience to remember? Build your presentation around this central idea, using supporting points to reinforce it. Structure your presentation using the storytelling techniques we discussed. Even if you're presenting data or technical information, you can frame it within a narrative structure. For example, you might start by describing the challenge or problem, the status quo, then take your audience on a journey through your solution or findings, the adventure, and conclude with the positive outcomes or insights, the resolution. As you deliver your presentation, be mindful of your use of silence. Use strategic pauses to highlight important information, allow complex ideas to sink in, or create anticipation for what's coming next. Remember, these moments of silence can be just as impactful as your words. Pay attention to your nonverbal communication as well. Maintain open, confident body language. Make eye contact with different people in your audience to create connection. Use gestures purposefully to emphasize points or illustrate concepts. During the Q&A session, put your active listening skills to use. Give each question your full attention and use reflective listening techniques to ensure you understand the query before responding. This not only helps you provide more accurate answers, but also demonstrates respect for your audience. Now, let's consider another common professional scenario, the team meeting. Whether you're leading the meeting or participating as a team member, effective communication is crucial for productive outcomes. If you're leading the meeting, start by clearly articulating the purpose and desired outcomes. Use brevity to keep your opening remarks concise and impactful. Consider using a brief story or analogy to set the tone or illustrate the main issue at hand. As the meeting progresses, practice active listening. Give your full attention to each speaker, using nonverbal cues to show you're engaged. When appropriate, use reflective listening techniques to ensure understanding and show that you value each contribution. If you're participating in the meeting, apply the principle of saying less to achieve more. Before you speak, ask yourself, is this contribution necessary? Will it add value to the discussion? When you do speak, be concise and focused. Use storytelling techniques to create lasting impressions. Remember to be mindful of the group dynamics. If you notice some team members aren't contributing, use your listening skills to draw them out. You might say something like, "Sarah, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this," creating space for quieter voices to be heard. Negotiations present another critical area where effective communication can make a significant difference. Whether you're negotiating a contract with a client, discussing your salary with your boss, or working out resource allocation with another department, the skills we've discussed can give you a powerful edge. Start by applying your listening skills. In many negotiations, the key to success lies not in what you say, but in what you hear. Give the other party your full attention, seeking to understand not just their stated position, but their underlying interests and motivations. Use reflective listening techniques to ensure you've understood correctly. You might say something like, "If I'm understanding correctly, your main concern is." This not only helps clarify the issues, but also demonstrates that you're genuinely trying to understand their perspective. When it's your turn to speak, use brevity to keep your points clear and focused. Avoid the temptation to over-explain or justify your position excessively. Instead, state your case succinctly and confidently. Strategic silence can be particularly powerful in negotiations. After making an offer or stating your position, fight the impulse to fill the silence that follows. This pause gives the other party time to consider your words and can often lead them to elaborate on their thoughts or even make concessions. Use storytelling techniques to make your arguments more persuasive. For example, you might share a brief anecdote that illustrates the benefits of your proposal or the potential risks of not reaching an agreement. Throughout the negotiation, be mindful of building and maintaining trust. Keep your commitments, be transparent about your constraints and limitations, and always negotiate in good faith. Remember, the goal is usually to reach a mutually beneficial agreement, not to win at the other party's expense. Email communication, while not face-to-face, still requires careful application of our communication skills. In fact, the absence of nonverbal cues in email makes precise and thoughtful communication even more critical. When crafting emails, start by applying the principle of brevity. Get to the point quickly, ideally stating the purpose of your email in the first sentence. Use short paragraphs and bullet points to make your email easy to read and understand. Choose your words carefully, remembering that without the context of tone and body language, words can be easily misinterpreted. Be particularly mindful of how your message might be perceived emotionally. When in doubt, err on the side of politeness and professionalism. If you're dealing with a complex or potentially sensitive issue, consider whether email is the best medium. Sometimes, a phone call or face-to-face meeting might be more appropriate. If you do need to address a difficult topic via email, use storytelling techniques to provide context and help the reader understand your perspective. Before sending any important email, take a moment of silence. Reread your message, considering how it might be received. This pause can help you catch errors, refine your language, and ensure your message aligns with your intentions. Leadership communication presents its own set of challenges and opportunities. Whether you're a team leader, a manager, or a C-suite executive, your communication sets the tone for your entire team or organization. As a leader, your words have greater impact, making brevity and careful word choice particularly important. Strive to be clear and concise in your communications, whether you're setting goals, providing feedback, or articulating your vision. Use storytelling to spark enthusiasm and drive among team members. Share stories of past successes, paint a vivid picture of the future you're working towards, or use analogies to help your team understand complex strategies or market dynamics. Active listening is crucial for effective leadership. Make a point of really hearing your team members, not just waiting for your turn to speak. Use reflective listening to ensure you grasp their perspectives, concerns, and ideas. This not only helps you make better decisions, but also makes your team feel valued and understood. Remember the power of silence in leadership. A thoughtful pause before responding to a question can demonstrate that you're giving the matter serious consideration. It can also create space for others to contribute their ideas. Nonverbal communication is particularly important for leaders, as your team will often take cues from your body language. Maintain open, confident posture. Make eye contact when speaking to individuals. Use facial expressions to convey empathy and understanding. In all your leadership communications, focus on building trust and credibility. Be consistent in your words and actions. Admit when you don't have all the answers. Follow through on your commitments. Remember, your behavior communicates as much as, if not more than, your words. Client relationships are another area where effective communication can make a significant difference. Whether you're in sales, customer service, or account management, your ability to communicate with quiet confidence can help you build stronger, more profitable client relationships. Start by applying your listening skills. Really seek to understand your client's needs, challenges, and goals. Use reflective listening techniques to ensure you've understood correctly and to show that you value their input. When presenting solutions or proposals to clients, use storytelling techniques to make your ideas more compelling. Share case studies of how you've helped similar clients, or paint a picture of how your solution will positively impact their business. Be mindful of brevity in your client communications. Respect their time by getting to the point quickly and focusing on the information that's most relevant to their needs. Use strategic silences in client meetings to create space for the client to share more or to emphasize important points. After making a proposal or asking an important question, resist the urge to fill the silence. Give your client time to consider and respond. In all your client interactions, focus on building trust and credibility. Be transparent about what you can and cannot do. Follow through on your commitments. If issues arise, communicate proactively and take responsibility for finding solutions. Conflict resolution is an area where all of our communication skills come into play. Whether you're mediating a disagreement between team members or addressing a conflict with a colleague, effective communication is key to finding positive resolutions. Start by creating a safe space for open dialogue. Use your active listening skills to ensure each party feels heard and understood. Employ reflective listening techniques to clarify points and demonstrate your commitment to understanding each perspective. Use I statements to express your own thoughts or feelings without blaming or attacking. For example, instead of saying, "You're being unreasonable," you might say, "I'm having trouble understanding your perspective. Could you explain it to me?" Apply the principle of brevity to keep the discussion focused and prevent it from becoming a drawn-out airing of grievances. Encourage all parties to express their concerns succinctly and to focus on finding solutions rather than dwelling on past issues. Use storytelling techniques to help parties understand different perspectives or to illustrate potential solutions. A well-chosen analogy can often help break through emotional barriers and foster understanding. Remember the power of silence in conflict resolution. Sometimes a moment of quiet can allow tensions to dissipate and give parties time to reflect on what's been said. Throughout the conflict resolution process, maintain open, non-threatening body language. Your nonverbal cues can help create an atmosphere of collaboration rather than confrontation. As we conclude this exploration of practical applications, remember that becoming a skilled communicator is an ongoing journey. Each professional interaction is an opportunity to apply and refine your skills. Be patient with yourself as you practice, and be willing to learn from both your successes and your mistakes. Reflect regularly on your communications. What worked well? Where could you improve? How did others respond to your communication style? This ongoing self-reflection will help you continuously refine your approach. Also, remember that while these skills are powerful, they should always be used ethically and with genuine intent. The goal is not to manipulate or to win at the expense of others, but to foster understanding, build relationships, and achieve mutually beneficial outcomes. As you continue to develop your communication skills, you may find that your professional relationships deepen, your influence grows, and new opportunities open up. The ability to communicate with quiet confidence, to achieve more by saying less, is a valuable asset in any professional setting. But while we've explored how to apply these skills in professional contexts, there's another crucial area where effective communication can have a profound impact: our personal relationships. Are you ready to discover how these same principles can transform your interactions with friends, family, and loved ones? Chapter 11: Practical Applications in Personal Relationships. While the principles of effective communication we've explored are powerful in professional settings, their impact can be even more profound in our personal relationships. The connections we forge with friends, family, and loved ones form the bedrock of our emotional lives, and the way we communicate within these relationships can dramatically affect our happiness, well-being, and sense of fulfillment. In personal relationships, the stakes of communication are often higher. Our words and actions carry emotional weight, capable of strengthening bonds or causing deep hurt. The quiet confidence we've been cultivating, the ability to achieve more by saying less, can be transformative in these intimate contexts, allowing us to connect more deeply, resolve conflicts more effectively, and build stronger, more resilient relationships. Let's start by considering how these communication principles apply to one of the most fundamental personal relationships: romantic partnerships. Whether you're in a new relationship or have been with your partner for decades, effective communication is key to maintaining a strong, healthy bond. In romantic relationships, active listening becomes not just a skill, but an act of love. When your partner is speaking, give them your full, undivided attention. Put away your phone, turn off the TV, and focus entirely on what they're saying. Use nonverbal cues like eye contact and nodding to show you're engaged. Practice reflective listening by paraphrasing what you've heard to ensure understanding. You might say something like, "If I'm understanding correctly, you're feeling frustrated because..." This kind of deep, attentive listening can make your partner feel truly heard and valued. It can also help you understand their needs, fears, and desires more fully, allowing you to respond in more supportive and loving ways. The principle of brevity can be particularly powerful in romantic relationships. In moments of conflict or tension, it can be tempting to launch into long explanations or justifications. However, often a brief, heartfelt statement can be more impactful. For example, instead of a lengthy defense of your actions, a simple, "I'm sorry, I didn't consider how that would make you feel," can be far more effective in diffusing tension and opening up honest dialogue. Strategic use of silence is another valuable tool in romantic relationships. In heated moments, taking a pause before responding can prevent you from saying things you might regret. It also gives you time to process your emotions and formulate a more thoughtful response. You might say, "I need a moment to think about that," before replying to a difficult question or statement. Storytelling can be a beautiful way to deepen intimacy in romantic relationships. Sharing personal stories about your past, your dreams for the future, or even just a funny incident from your day can help your partner understand you better and feel more connected to you. Encourage your partner to share their stories too, and listen with genuine interest and empathy. Nonverbal communication is particularly crucial in romantic relationships. A touch, a smile, or a hug can often communicate love and support more powerfully than words. Pay attention to your body language when interacting with your partner. Are you physically turning towards them when they speak? Does your facial expression match the empathy you're trying to convey? In all your communications with your romantic partner, focus on building and maintaining trust. Be consistent in your words and actions. Follow through on your commitments. If you've made a mistake, own up to it honestly. Remember, trust is the foundation of a strong relationship, and it's built or eroded through countless small interactions. Now, let's consider how these principles apply to family relationships with parents, siblings, children, or extended family members. Family dynamics can be complex, often laden with long-standing patterns and expectations. Effective communication can help navigate these waters more smoothly. With family members, the art of listening becomes particularly important. Often, in families, we fall into the habit of assuming we know what others think or feel. Challenge these assumptions by truly listening to your family members. Use open-ended questions to invite them to share their thoughts and feelings. You might be surprised by what you learn. When communicating with family members, be mindful of your word choice. Families often have trigger words or phrases that can escalate tensions quickly. Pay attention to these and try to find alternative ways to express yourself. For example, if telling your sibling they're always late tends to start an argument, you might instead say, "I feel frustrated when I'm kept waiting. Can we find a way to make sure we're both on time?" Storytelling can be a powerful tool for bridging generational gaps in families. Sharing stories about your experiences or family history can help younger generations understand your perspective better. Likewise, invite younger family members to share their stories. It can provide valuable insight into their world and challenges. In parent-child relationships, the principle of brevity can be particularly useful. Children often tune out long lectures or explanations. Instead, try to convey your messages in clear, concise terms. This is especially true for younger children, but can be effective with teens and adult children as well. Nonverbal communication is crucial in family interactions. A warm hug, a supportive hand on the shoulder, or an encouraging smile can often convey love and support more effectively than words. Be conscious of your body language during family interactions. Are you physically expressing the care and attention you intend to? In all family communications, strive to build and maintain trust. Be reliable in your words and actions. If you make a promise, keep it. If you've made a mistake, admit it and apologize sincerely. This kind of integrity in communication can help heal old wounds and strengthen family bonds. Friendships are another area where effective communication can have a significant impact. Whether you're maintaining long-standing friendships or building new ones, the principles we've discussed can help you create deeper, more meaningful connections. Active listening is a gift you can give your friends. When a friend is sharing something important, give them your full attention. Use reflective listening techniques to ensure you've understood, and ask thoughtful questions to show your interest and support. This kind of attentive listening can make your friends feel valued and strengthen your bond. The principle of brevity can be useful in friendships too, particularly when offering advice or support. Often, friends don't need long speeches or detailed solutions. A brief, heartfelt, "I'm here for you," or "that sounds really tough," can be more comforting and supportive. Storytelling is often at the heart of friendship. Sharing your experiences, hopes, and fears with friends and listening to theirs creates intimacy and understanding. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable in your storytelling. It often invites reciprocal openness from your friends. In friendships, as in all relationships, building trust is crucial. Be reliable and consistent in your communications. If you say you'll call or meet up, follow through. If you've made a mistake or let a friend down, acknowledge it honestly and make amends. Now, let's consider how these communication principles can help in one of the most challenging aspects of personal relationships: conflict resolution. Whether it's a disagreement with a partner, a family dispute, or tension with a friend, effective communication can be the key to finding positive resolutions. Start by using your active listening skills. In conflicts, we often focus more on making our own point than understanding the other person's perspective. Break this pattern by truly listening to the other person. Use reflective listening techniques to ensure you've understood their position correctly. You might say, "So what I'm hearing is," and summarize their point of view. This not only helps clarify the issue, but also shows the other person that you're making a genuine effort to understand them. When expressing your own perspective in a conflict, use I statements to convey your feelings without blaming or attacking. For example, instead of saying, "You always ignore me," you might say, "I feel hurt when I don't get a response to my messages." This approach is less likely to put the other person on the defensive and more likely to lead to productive dialogue. The principle of brevity can be particularly useful in conflicts. Long, drawn-out arguments often become circular and unproductive. Try to express your core concerns clearly and concisely. This can help keep the discussion focused on the real issues rather than getting sidetracked by minor points or old grievances. Strategic use of silence can be powerful in conflict resolution. After making a point or asking a question, resist the urge to fill the silence. Give the other person time to process and respond. These moments of quiet can often lead to breakthrough insights or shifts in perspective. Storytelling can be a useful tool for creating understanding in conflicts. Sharing a brief anecdote about why something is important to you or how a certain behavior impacts you can help the other person understand your perspective more fully. Encourage them to share their stories too. Often, conflicts arise from misunderstood motivations or unseen challenges. Throughout any conflict, pay attention to your nonverbal communication. Keep your body language open and non-threatening. Maintain appropriate eye contact. Modulate your tone of voice to convey calm and reason rather than anger or frustration. Remember, your nonverbal cues can either escalate or de-escalate a conflict. In all personal relationships, it's crucial to remember the importance of empathy and emotional intelligence. Try to understand not just the words being said, but the emotions behind them. Are there underlying fears, insecurities, or unmet needs driving certain behaviors or reactions? By approaching your personal communications with empathy and emotional awareness, you can create deeper understanding and stronger connections. It's also important to be mindful of the impact of digital communication on personal relationships. In an age of texting, social media, and video calls, many of our interactions happen through screens. While these tools can help us stay connected, they also present unique challenges. When communicating digitally, be extra mindful of your word choice, as the lack of nonverbal cues can lead to misunderstandings. Use emojis or GIFs judiciously to help convey tone, but don't rely on them entirely. If a conversation is becoming emotionally charged or complex, consider switching to a voice or video call, or better yet, an in-person meeting if possible. Remember to apply the principle of brevity to your digital communications. A long block of text can be overwhelming in a text message or email. Break your thoughts into shorter, more digestible messages, and always reread your message before sending to ensure it conveys what you intend. As you apply these communication principles in your personal relationships, you may find that your connections deepen and become more rewarding. You may experience fewer misunderstandings and conflicts and find it easier to resolve those that do arise. You may discover new layers to the people you thought you knew well and find yourself forming more meaningful new relationships. However, it's important to remember that improving communication in personal relationships is a journey, not a destination. It requires ongoing effort, patience, and a willingness to be vulnerable. There will be missteps along the way, and that's okay. The key is to approach each interaction as an opportunity to learn and grow. It's also crucial to remember that while these communication skills are powerful, they're not a substitute for genuine care and respect. The foundation of any strong personal relationship is a sincere desire to understand and support the other person. These communication techniques should be used to express and reinforce that genuine care, not to manipulate or control. As you continue to develop your communication skills, take time to reflect on your progress. How have your relationships changed? What new insights have you gained about yourself and others? What areas still challenge you? This ongoing self-reflection can help you continue to grow and refine your approach. Remember, too, that effective communication is a two-way street. As you work on improving your own communication skills, encourage your loved ones to do the same. Share what you're learning with them. Practice active listening together. Give each other feedback on communication styles. By approaching it as a shared journey, you can create a virtuous cycle of better understanding and stronger connections. In conclusion, the principles of effective communication we've explored throughout this book, brevity, strategic silence, careful word choice, active listening, storytelling, and nonverbal communication, can have a profound impact on our personal relationships. By applying these skills with empathy, authenticity, and consistency, we can create deeper connections, resolve conflicts more effectively, and build more fulfilling personal relationships. But as we conclude this exploration of practical applications in personal relationships, it's worth considering, how do all these elements come together to create true mastery in communication? What does it really mean to achieve more by saying less? Are you ready to explore the art of bringing all these skills together into a coherent, powerful approach to communication? Chapter 12, Mastering the Art of Saying Less. As we reach the culmination of our journey through the realms of effective communication, we arrive at a paradox, the art of saying less to achieve more. This concept, at first glance, might seem counterintuitive in a world that often equates verbosity with intelligence and constant communication with engagement. However, as we've explored throughout this book, true mastery in communication often lies not in how much we say, but in the impact of what we choose to express. The philosophy of minimalism in communication is not about being silent or withholding information. Rather, it's about distilling our message to its most potent essence, eliminating the unnecessary and allowing the truly important to shine through. It's about creating space in conversations, in presentations, in relationships for deeper understanding and more meaningful exchanges. To truly master the art of saying less, we must first understand that communication is not just about transmission of information. It's about connection, influence, and shared understanding. When we embrace this perspective, we begin to see that sometimes less truly is more. Consider the power of a well-timed pause in a conversation. That moment of silence can speak volumes, allowing the weight of what's been said to sink in, creating space for reflection, or inviting the other person to share their thoughts. In these moments of quiet, often more is communicated than in a flurry of words. Similarly, think about the impact of a single, well-chosen word or phrase. "I understand," said with genuine empathy and at the right moment, can be more comforting than a long speech. "I believe in you," expressed sincerely, can be more motivating than an extensive pep talk. These brief statements, when backed by authentic emotion and appropriate context, can have a profound effect. The art of saying less is closely tied to the concept of intentionality in communication. Every word, every gesture, every silence should serve a purpose. This doesn't mean that every communication needs to be formal or weighty. Even casual conversations can benefit from this mindful approach. It simply means being conscious of why we're communicating and what we hope to achieve. To cultivate this intentionality, try the following exercise. Before each significant communication, whether it's an important conversation, a presentation, or even a crucial email, take a moment to ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What is the core message I want to convey? 2. What is the most concise and impactful way to express this message? 3. What can I eliminate without losing the essence of my communication? This brief reflection can help you distill your communication to its most powerful form. Mastering the art of saying less also involves becoming comfortable with silence. In many cultures, there's a tendency to fill every moment of silence, to rush to fill perceived conversational voids. But when we learn to embrace these quiet moments, we open up new possibilities in our communications. Silence can be a tool for emphasis, allowing key points to resonate. It can be a space for reflection, giving others and ourselves time to process information and form thoughtful responses. It can even be a way of showing respect, demonstrating that we value the other person's thoughts and are willing to wait for them to express themselves. To become more comfortable with silence, try the silent minute exercise. In your next one-on-one conversation, challenge yourself to remain silent for a full minute after the other person has finished speaking. Notice how this feels. What insights or responses arise in this space? How does the other person react? With practice, you'll likely find that these moments of silence become less uncomfortable and more productive. Another key aspect of saying less to achieve more is the art of asking powerful questions. A well-crafted question can often accomplish more than a long explanation. It can stimulate thought, invite new perspectives, and lead to deeper understanding. When we ask the right questions, we empower others to arrive at insights on their own, which can be far more impactful than if we had simply told them what to think. For example, instead of giving a team member a long explanation of how to improve their performance, you might ask, "What do you think are the biggest obstacles to your success right now?" Or, "If you could change one thing about your approach, what would it be?" These questions invite self-reflection and often lead to more meaningful growth than direct instructions. To develop your skill in asking powerful questions, practice the question-only conversation. For 5 minutes, engage in a conversation where you only ask questions. Notice how this changes the dynamic of the interaction and often leads to unexpected insights. The concept of less is more applies not just to verbal communication, but to written communication as well. In an age of information overload, the ability to convey ideas concisely and effectively in writing is increasingly valuable. Whether you're crafting an email, a report, or a social media post, challenge yourself to convey your message in as few words as possible without losing clarity or impact. One effective technique for this is the half-length challenge. After writing your first draft, challenge yourself to convey the same message in half the number of words. This exercise forces you to identify the truly essential elements of your message and find more concise ways to express them. Mastering the art of saying less also involves becoming more attuned to nonverbal communication. As we've discussed earlier, a significant portion of our communication happens through body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. By becoming more aware of these nonverbal cues, both in ourselves and others, we can often convey and understand more while saying less. Practice silent communication with a friend or colleague. Try to convey a specific emotion or idea using only facial expressions and body language. This exercise can help you become more conscious of the power of nonverbal communication and how it can often substitute for words. Another crucial aspect of saying less to achieve more is the art of listening. True listening, not just hearing, but actively seeking to understand, is perhaps the most powerful form of communication. When we listen deeply, we often find that we need to say less. The right response becomes clear, or sometimes we realize that no response is needed at all. To enhance your listening skills, try the 3-second rule. After someone has finished speaking, count to 3 in your head before responding. This brief pause not only ensures the other person has finished their thought, but also gives you time to truly process what's been said and formulate a thoughtful response. The philosophy of minimalism in communication extends to our overall communication habits as well. In our hyper-connected world, there's often a pressure to be constantly available and responsive. But this constant communication can lead to burnout and can actually diminish the impact of our words. Consider implementing communication fasts in your life. This might mean designating certain hours as no phone time, taking regular breaks from social media, or setting boundaries around when you'll respond to non-urgent emails. By creating these pockets of quiet in your life, you allow space for deeper reflection and more meaningful communication when you do engage. As you work on mastering the art of saying less, you may encounter challenges. There might be situations where you feel pressure to speak more, or where others misinterpret your conciseness as lack of engagement or knowledge. In these moments, remember that true confidence often manifests as the ability to be comfortable with silence and to speak only when you have something valuable to contribute. If you find yourself in a situation where more explanation is genuinely needed, provide it, but do so mindfully. Use the techniques we've discussed throughout this book, storytelling, precise word choice, strategic silence, to ensure that even when you need to say more, every word counts. Remember, too, that mastering the art of saying less doesn't mean becoming cold or distant. On the contrary, by eliminating unnecessary words and creating space in our communications, we often forge deeper, more authentic connections. We demonstrate respect for others' time and intelligence. We create room for genuine dialogue and shared understanding. As you continue to refine your communication skills, you may find that your influence grows. People may start to hang on your words, knowing that when you speak, it's worth listening. You may find that you're able to resolve conflicts more easily, convey ideas more effectively, and build stronger relationships, all while saying less. This mastery of minimalist communication can have profound effects on both your professional and personal life. In the workplace, you may find that your ideas carry more weight, your leadership becomes more effective, and your interactions become more productive. In your personal relationships, you may experience deeper connections, more meaningful conversations, and a greater sense of mutual understanding. However, it's important to remember that mastering the art of saying less is not about striving for perfection in every interaction. There will be times when you say more than necessary, when you struggle to find the right words, or when silence feels uncomfortable. This is all part of the journey. The key is to approach each communication with mindfulness and intention, always striving to distill your message to its most powerful essence. As you progress in your journey of mastering minimalist communication, consider keeping a communication journal. At the end of each day, reflect on your interactions. When did you communicate most effectively? When did you perhaps say more than was necessary? What were the outcomes of these interactions? Over time, this practice can help you identify patterns and continue refining your approach. It's also valuable to seek feedback from others. Ask trusted colleagues, friends, or family members how they perceive your communication style. Do they find your conciseness clear and effective, or sometimes too brief? Do they feel heard and understood in your interactions? This external perspective can provide valuable insights and help you fine-tune your approach. Remember, too, that the art of saying less is not about having all the answers or always knowing exactly what to say. It's about being comfortable with uncertainty, with not always filling the silence, with allowing conversations and ideas to unfold naturally. It's about trusting in the power of a few well-chosen words, a thoughtful question, or a moment of reflective silence. As we conclude this exploration of Mastering the Art of Saying Less, consider how far you've come in your journey of communication. From understanding the power of brevity and strategic silence, to honing your listening skills and storytelling abilities, to applying these principles in both professional and personal settings, you've developed a robust toolkit for effective, impactful communication. But perhaps the most powerful tool you've gained is not a technique or a strategy, but a mindset. The mindset of intentionality in communication, of valuing quality over quantity, of understanding that sometimes the most powerful statement is the one left unsaid. This mindset, more than any specific skill, is what will allow you to continue growing and evolving as a communicator. As you move forward, carrying these lessons with you, remember that mastering communication is a lifelong journey. Each interaction is an opportunity to practice, to refine your skills, to say less and achieve more. Embrace this journey with curiosity and openness, always seeking to understand more deeply and connect more authentically. In a world that often values noise over substance, your ability to communicate with quiet confidence, to say less and achieve more, will set you apart. It will allow you to build stronger relationships, to lead more effectively, to influence more powerfully. It will enable you to navigate complex situations with grace and to find clarity amidst chaos. So, as you close this book and step back into your daily life, carry with you this powerful truth. In communication, less can indeed be more. Your words, chosen carefully and delivered thoughtfully, have the power to change minds, to heal rifts, to inspire action, to transform relationships. Use them wisely, use them sparingly, and watch as your quiet confidence creates ripples of positive change in your world. Chapter 13, Conclusion and Next Steps. As we reach the culmination of our journey through the intricacies of effective communication, it's time to reflect on the transformative power of what you've learned and to look ahead to the exciting possibilities that await you. The principles and techniques we've explored throughout this book are not just theoretical concepts, but practical tools that have the potential to revolutionize your personal and professional life. Let's take a moment to recap the key insights you've gained. 1. The power of brevity. You've learned to distill your messages to their essential core, eliminating unnecessary words and focusing on what truly matters. 2. Strategic use of silence. You now understand how moments of quiet can be just as impactful as words, creating space for reflection, emphasis, and deeper understanding. 3. Choosing words wisely. You've honed your ability to select precise, impactful language that resonates with your audience and conveys your message with clarity and power. 4. Empathy and emotional intelligence. You've developed a deeper awareness of emotions, both your own and others, allowing you to communicate with greater sensitivity and effectiveness. 5. Nonverbal communication. You're now attuned to the silent language of body language, facial expressions, and gestures, and how to use these to reinforce your message. 6. Building trust and credibility. You understand the crucial role of authenticity and consistency in establishing yourself as a trustworthy communicator. 7. Listening as a tool for influence. You've learned that true influence often comes not from speaking, but from listening deeply and attentively. 8. Crafting compelling stories. You now have the tools to create narratives that engage, persuade, and inspire your audience. 9. Practical applications in professional settings. You've seen how these principles can be applied in various workplace scenarios, from presentations to negotiations. 10. Practical applications in personal relationships. You've explored how these same skills can deepen your connections with friends, family, and loved ones. 11. Mastering the art of saying less. You've embraced the philosophy of minimalism in communication, understanding that often, less truly is more. But the real power of what you've learned lies not in these individual concepts, but in how they come together to form a cohesive approach to communication. You now possess the ability to navigate any communication scenario with quiet confidence, adapting your approach as needed while staying true to the core principles of effective, impactful communication. As you move forward from here, remember that mastering these skills is not a destination, but a journey. Each interaction, each conversation, each presentation is an opportunity to refine your abilities further. Embrace these opportunities with curiosity and openness, always seeking to understand more deeply and connect more authentically. The impact of your improved communication skills will likely extend far beyond what you might initially expect. You may find that your professional relationships deepen, leading to new opportunities and collaborations. Your leadership abilities expand, allowing you to inspire and motivate others more effectively. Your personal relationships become more fulfilling, with fewer misunderstandings and deeper connections. Your self-confidence grows as you become more assured in your ability to express yourself clearly and powerfully. Your influence increases, not through forceful persuasion, but through genuine understanding and connection. But perhaps the most profound change will be in how you perceive yourself and your place in the world. As you continue to develop your communication skills, you'll likely find that you become more attuned to the nuances of human interaction. You'll pick up on subtleties you might have missed before. You'll find yourself more often in the role of mediator, bridge builder, or catalyst for positive change. This heightened awareness and ability to connect can lead to a deeper sense of empathy and understanding for others. You may find yourself more patient, more compassionate, more able to see situations from multiple perspectives. This, in turn, can lead to a greater sense of connection with those around you and a more profound sense of purpose in your interactions. Moreover, as you embrace the philosophy of saying less to achieve more, you may find a new sense of calm and clarity in your life. By focusing on what's truly important and eliminating communicative clutter, you create space, both mental and emotional, for deeper reflection, more meaningful connections, and more impactful actions. So, what's next? How can you continue to build on what you've learned and truly master the art of quiet confidence in communication? Here are some suggestions. 1. Practice daily. Make a conscious effort to apply these principles in your everyday interactions. Start small, perhaps focus on one technique each day or week. 2. Seek feedback. Ask trusted friends, colleagues, or mentors for honest feedback on your communication style. Be open to constructive criticism and use it as a tool for growth. 3. Keep a communication journal. Regularly reflect on your interactions. What worked well? What could you improve? What insights did you gain? 4. Study great communicators. Pay attention to skilled communicators in your field or in public life. Analyze their techniques and consider how you might adapt them to your own style. 5. Teach others. One of the best ways to reinforce your own learning is to share it with others. Look for opportunities to mentor or coach others in effective communication. 6. Continual learning. Communication is an ever-evolving field. Stay updated with new research and techniques through books, workshops, or courses. 7. Challenge yourself. Regularly put yourself in situations that stretch your communication skills. This might mean taking on public speaking engagements, leading difficult conversations, or communicating in new mediums. Remember, the journey you've embarked on is not just about becoming a better communicator. It's about becoming a better listener, a more empathetic person, and a more impactful presence in the world. As you continue to refine your skills, you're not just changing how you speak or write, you're changing how you connect with others and how you understand yourself. In a world that often seems increasingly divided and disconnected, your ability to communicate with quiet confidence, to truly listen, to speak with intention, to connect authentically, is more valuable than ever. You have the power to bridge divides, to foster understanding, to inspire positive change. So as you close this book and step back into your world, carry with you this powerful truth. Your words, your silences, your presence have the power to shape reality. Use this power wisely and compassionately. Let your quiet confidence be a force for positive change in your life and in the lives of those around you. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You've taken that step, and many more, through the pages of this book. Now, the path ahead is yours to shape. With each mindful interaction, each carefully chosen word, each attentive silence, you're not just communicating, you're creating a better, more connected world. Your journey to mastering quiet confidence in communication doesn't end here. In many ways, it's just beginning. But you now have the tools, the knowledge, and the mindset to make each step forward a powerful one. Trust in your abilities, stay curious and open to learning, and watch as your quiet confidence creates ripples of positive change that extend far beyond what you might have imagined possible. The power to transform your communication, your relationships, and your world lies within you. Embrace it, nurture it, and let it shine. Your voice, in all its quiet confidence, is needed. The world is waiting to hear what you have to say, and more importantly, to feel the impact of how you choose to say it. Go forth and communicate with purpose, with empathy, with quiet confidence. Your journey starts now, and the possibilities are limitless.